You know what time it is? And you guys, we know we're on streaming our regular Sunday time slot. So we got a huge stream tonight. We got some of the best Power Ranger content creators on here. I know it says the biggest, and I know there's probably been a live stream out there. There's been like 20 people on the screen, but like just for clickbait reasons, it's the biggest. Just say a couple of highs to the people in the chat. We already got like 40 people in here. That's nuts. We got Nick. What's going on? We got Nathan. We got Geek Archivist. What's going on, man? We got Maddie. Oh, we got a lot of the regulars. Appreciate you being here. Josh, thank you for being here. Maddie, of course, thank you for helping out tonight. We got AZ, Dino Man. A lot of you guys in the chat. We got some people on Facebook also. Clyde and Stickosaurus Rex on Twitch, the biggest. What's going on, guys? All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and introduce our panel, which is tremendous. So first off, you guys know he has been on the channel multiple times. He is way more popular than I am. He puts out way more content than like any of the Power Ranger content creators that I know of. But guys, make a chat for Dan. Emojis in the chat for Dan from the fan club. What's going on, dude?
What's going on, everybody? How we doing on this Sunday night?
Man, this is a crazy panel, dude. I was texting you and I was like, kept on adding people, and you were like, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap.
I love it.
All right, we got a new guy on the channel. It's funny because I was talking to him and I was meeting someone at a public event, and they actually told me that they watch The Legacy of Nerd, and he was like, I love your stuff, but I also love Mighty Morphin Conspiracy Theory. And we started talking. Guys, welcome everyone to the chat. Casey,
hello.
Emojis in the chat. What's up, man? How are you? First time?
Oh, thanks for having me. This is just, I just feel like a kid in a candy shop. This is great.
Man, this is awesome, man. All right, so next we got, man, this guy is a Power Ranger film legend. He has been making the first Ninja, Rise of the Ninja. We've seen him in Shattered Past. We've seen him in Bloodline as well. Guys, welcome Power Rangers legend Colin Bass. He's pretty much a Ranger, man. Colin Bass, how are you doing, man? I was about to say, you've been in so many Power Ranger films at this point. You're pretty much like a full-fledged Ranger.
Just, you know, I really, really appreciate that. I'll never say it, but I really appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for having me on. This is awesome.
It is awesome, man.
Thank you of all of you. Thank you for having me.
So we got our next person. He's Colin's, I guess, partner in crime a little bit on a couple of projects, but he's also big on Bloodline of the Grid, where we got his Fusion Ranger that came out big when that started out. Everybody welcome DJ Rivers. How you doing?
What's up, y'all?
And the crowd goes wild.
Happy to be here.
I need to get like a soundboard, but like I have this thing where like I spend minimal money on anything that this is where my money goes to, where it did. I guess it did go there. But yeah, I guess I'm saving money now. I guess I could buy a soundboard. But last person I want to introduce, he is probably the biggest rising star in the Power Rangers community. Came out a couple of years ago with his first film with Power Rangers Unworthy. He just did the Psycho Menace, which was like insane and was like watching the season finale of Mandalorian in Power Rangers form. Guys, welcome Jourdan Barnett. What's up, man?
Guys, this live stream has been deemed.
It's worthy, yes. We're worthy. It's funny. I was talking to one of my buddies the other day, and like he does a perfect Ninja voice, and I was like, I kind of want him to like audition with you guys. It's like flawless, dude. But yeah, so we got so many like great content creators here. I'm gonna kind of start the night off. We're gonna do a roundtable a little bit, but in case anybody wants to introduce themselves, we'll start with Dan. Dan, tell us who you are.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Dan Brosnan from the Fan Club. I am a Power Rangers YouTuber and a little bit more. We got our start on YouTube about 7 years ago, but we're on Spotify, we're on Facebook, a little bit everywhere, and we're just here to have some fun and talk Power Rangers.
Awesome, man. And then we got sweet little Casey over here, who's probably the most controversial content creator on this panel tonight. But
oh, yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, man? How you doing?
Hi, so I'm Casey. I have a channel, Mighty Morphin Conspiracy Theories, and I I actually kind of made a few videos. I do a lot of content stuff for companies and stuff. And I was like, this would be fun. I'm just going to make a video, enjoy something for once. And I like to try to figure out the big plot holes of Power Rangers and explain how they maybe came about in the most realistic possible way. Without just making stuff up. So that's kind of what I try to do a lot of. And then just some breakdowns of seasons and different things like that. So
yeah, man, your videos are really like engaging, and
thanks.
I cheat. I do like 3-minute videos. I'm like, I get the information out quick, and you're like, let's talk about it for an hour.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but it's like, let's talk about Once and Always, and it's almost as long as the actual, special. That's probably not good, but
all with superb editing as well.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And then we got our film legend Colin Bass with you. Want to tell a little bit about yourself as well?
Yeah, what's up, guys? My name's Colin K. Bass. I write, act, and produce a bunch of stuff in the Power Rangers Extended Universe, but also big shout out to Jourdan. The reason why I even went down this path with Power Rangers content in general, but also a little outside of Power Rangers, we do a lot of other content, superheroes, anime, kind of everything like that, like behind me, everything like that. But super happy to be here, and just, man, the love is real, and I'm stoked to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being here as well. And DJ, tell us a little bit about you. He's like, I don't know. I'm on mute. Oh, he laughed.
Oh.
He was like, no, I will say nothing. Nothing.
You know what it is? He's not on Wi-Fi. When you're in a car, you're not on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think hold on. I think he just jumped back in. Hold on. There we go. Well, dude, we try to like give you an intro, and you just like, nah, I'm leaving. Can you hear us? You might not be able to hear us.
Here?
All right.
no.
And okay, we'll go with Jourdan. Jourdan, if you want to introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Jourdan. I am the writer, director, producer, and actor as Billy in Unworthy. I'm just a cosplayer turned filmmaker that wanted to see Power Rangers become something more mature, but darker, yet still balancing the elements that we love from classic Power Rangers. Like I didn't want to lose it and become something too dark, but that balance I feel like adult Power Ranger fans have been kind of looking for, myself included, for a while now from the series. So, and it's just been an awesome journey along the way where I've even, been able to be honored enough to inspire people like my friend Colin here, who I literally met for the first time at Power Morphin Con.
Did everybody here go to Power Morphin? I didn't go to Power Morphin Con.
I didn't.
You didn't?
The two of them. So past 4 years, Jourdan and I went.
Okay, cool.
2018.
Right? Is that right?
Yeah, 2018 is where we met.
2018 is when we met, and then we were together again. So we missed 2022. You weren't there for that one.
No. COVID.
Yeah, it was scary. But no, I also, like, not to derail anything, but Jourdan, it wasn't just me. You started a big spark of a bunch of fan films within the Power Rangers world.
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. I mean, I've met so many Power Rangers filmmakers since then. Like, it's just been a crazy journey.
Or you created them. They didn't even know they were filmmakers. And they're just like, I want to do that. And they did it.
Oh, snap. Now you're filming.
Wait, I'm trying to remember. Did Unworthy come first, or did the Extended Universe come first?
Unworthy.
Unworthy first.
Won the fan film competition at MorphiCon 2018. And I literally went up to Jourdan. I was like, I want to do this. And then I pitched First Ninja to like a weird hotel after party. We're all drinking. Like, a lot of people were in spandex, and I was like, what do you guys think about like a prequel to Ninja Storm? They're like, yeah, sounds good. And I talked about it. And then First Ninja was in pre-production that day because of Jourdan.
Wow.
That's
I'm not new. Like, obviously I've been a fan for a long time. I think a lot of you guys have been fans for a long time, but like I didn't really like join the community until like I want to say 2018, and it was like the first time I had like big boy money. So I was like, going on. I was on like Power Rangers trade buy and sell, and like building up my collection, because I don't know if you guys can see, but like I have a lot of the older toys that
We can see, brother. That's
well, that's only some of them actually. It's really bad. Like my office is horrible, but my parents, did a lot for me when I was a kid, but obviously, you wanted more, as a kid. And when you're, single and making money, you're like, I want toys. And so like, that's what kind of got me into the community. It's funny, I guess I didn't introduce myself, but I'm the Legacy of Nerd, and I'm actually fairly new to the YouTube community as well. Like I didn't start until 2022. A lot of you guys here have been in the game for like, forever. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you guys, you, Jordan, DJ are like, the innovators as far as like putting that fandom on YouTube and kind of like starting that a lot of us that are now not just Power Ranger creators, but like Toku creators and Tokusatsu, Kamen Rider and Super Sentai and all those different things, you know what I mean? And I know like, Dan, you started off as what got you into content creating was sports initially, because that's why you're called the Fan Club, right?
Yeah, it was actually all four. We did sports, music, pop culture. Yeah, we used to do music reviews. We were doing it all to kind of see what stuck. But then it was one of those things where like I would talk about sports and it'd get like 100 views, but I'd talk about Power Rangers and it'd get like 1,000 views. And you could tell I was more passionate about it too. I knew more, and it was just one of those things where when I started too, we started with multiple other creators, so it just wasn't me. It was like 3-4 of us, so we were doing a handful of everything, but then by the end of the day it just became me, and we trickled down and figured out our niche. And I think that's one of the biggest things with YouTube is there's so many creators, so many videos that you have to figure out what makes you tick and what you can actually create that's real and you're passionate about. Because if you're not passionate about it, the fans are going to eat you up in the comments.
Well, and that brings me to my next point is, and I'll go, DJ, if you want to introduce yourself real quick. We're good? You're not gonna like leave again, are you?
Not by choice.
Not by choice. If you want to introduce yourself real quick before I move on to the
I'll make it very fast. Hi, I'm DJ Rivers. I'm the guy that can't stay on the stream because I like to leave. I'm part of the extended universe. I've been in several of the projects as well. I'm also the showrunner and director of Bloodline of the Grid, as well as I play TK Johnson in the extended universe, Green Cyclone in the extended universe. Literally, we've been on every show together. Colin and I have been on every show together, proudly. So, happy to be here with you. Talented gentlemen, carry on as if I didn't leave, please.
Well, you know what? We'll start with you, DJ. Like, why Power Rangers? What is it with Power Rangers that like you connected so well with it?
Oh man, I'll try to keep this short, but I'm such a OG. Been there since Mighty Morphin Kid, and I remember specifically it was my cousins who had the figures first before I saw anything on Fox Kids, right? And I just thought the concept of associated animals in the helmets, I thought the aesthetic was cool, right? And then of course, because marketing is marketing, I see the commercials and then I'm like, I'm in. I'm 100% in. Followed it, was a big fan, grew up on Ninja Turtles, grew up as such a geek, all the nerdiness as you could, as my boy knows. So between that, the martial arts, the I don't know, man. I just thought the themes were cool, and I've been in ever since. Fell off when you grow up a little bit, and then you get back into it, and you just kind of find the stuff that makes you happy. And Power Rangers is definitely one of them. As long as you're keeping on the good side of the people that keep with the positives, you know what I mean?
Right. What about you, Jordan?
I mean, same. Power Rangers was basically my first like superhero team, like before Justice League, before Avengers. And it bridged off very neatly from my love of dinosaurs, like from the Jurassic Park stuff, and like dinosaur media was like really big in the early '90s. So Power Rangers was like the perfect off ramp onto it. And then it even like dovetailed into my love of like giant robots fighting giant monsters like Godzilla and Gundam and all that stuff. So it's like Power Rangers is this weird crossroads of all of my favorite things into one franchise. And I've been day one since '93, so like I was there for Green with Evil on VHS. So
yeah. I remember finding those, seeing those in Target when I was a little kid. Maybe it was Kmart. But And my parents, I was telling I didn't even have the right. I had like 1, 2, and like 5. I didn't even have like all of the tapes. So like I was just kind of like skipping around on it. But Casey, what about you? Why Power Rangers for you, man?
I feel like I'm always I don't fit in real well at Comic Cons, because if you go into any other fandom, I'm kind of like, yeah, I know a little bit about it, but for some reason I have this like encyclopedia mind when it comes to Power Rangers, because that was like my thing as a kid. I just locked into it, and that was like, I mean, I like some other shows, but not as extreme as Power Rangers. So it was always just that thing. And I even remember like when I was a kid, I had a really bad day. This is when I was probably like out of 5, or I don't know, trying to think of what age, but it's like I had someone who did the classic, like, I don't want to be your friend anymore. And my mom that day took me to the Turbo movie in theaters.
Aw.
And it's like, it was, I don't know, Power Rangers was just always like my safe place, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know, I just love it. And then, you know, I fell off of it. And then someone, when I was in high school, was like, you got to check out RPM. And I was like, no, I don't watch. I watch that stuff anymore. And then I watched. Okay, this is amazing. And I went back and rewatched everything. So, yeah,
That's amazing. That's awesome, man. Colin, what about you?
Started back in '93 for sure, but I always checked into every season, you know, growing up or whatnot. But the thing that like really made me want to dive into it was Unworthy, if I'm being honest. Every single year, every season, I would check in, and you know, there are ones I like. Disney era is my favorite era. Those are the ones where I would watch every episode. But even as a kid going into adulthood, I'd always check in. I always cared. Crossover episodes, I'd watch them. But man, the first thing that ever made me go, I want to do that, was the Unworthy win at FanFilm. So it's been a long story from '93 until what, Jourdan, 2018. And then when First Ninja came out, I was like, man, there's so much more I could do. And I always wanted to just go first, like full speed Ninja Storm. But maybe people didn't really want to see that. Then Shattered Past came out. A lot of people wanted to see more of that. So then I started doing more of that. Led to Bloodline, led to Found Footage, led to Rise of the Ninja with William Shufelt. Then I started working with Rangers that I watched growing up. So in my head, I was like, do whatever you can while they want you. And I hit the gas, and that's like where we are now. I love it. I'm very happy. But I every year always wanted to like it. Maybe I didn't. But then after Unworthy and First Ninja, I was like, no matter what, this makes me happy. This makes other people happy. Let's be creative. Let's be passionate, and maybe inspire other people to create too. So it all really sparked in 2018 for sure.
That's awesome, man. Well, Dan, what about you, man?
Oh, dude, when I start, okay, so same thing as everybody. I think I was 2 or 3 when the show originally came out. Grew up with it. Kind of every season I watched until I got to like high school. I think it was Mystic Forces when I started to fall off. But the theme song was hot, though. I remember I watched. I was like, okay, because it was a complete switch up than every single like theme song you ever heard before. So I remember watching that. As I got older for a few years, I was almost too cool. However, I had my son at a pretty young age. And honestly, like by the time I was 18, I was a single dad, and Power Rangers was around. And we started watching Samurai, all that stuff. So it kind of like re-sparked everything for me. I got to kind of relive some of my childhood again with my son, buying him toys. And then I want to say it was 2014. There was a Comic-Con. I think it was still called Wizard World back in the day. And Jason David Frank was there. And this was when he wasn't doing panels, but he was doing like karate classes. Like you would go to the panel and he would do like straight up like a karate class. And my son was one of his helpers. And it was just like I was reliving my childhood through my son. And that was the spark of everything. Like the next year, we brought Steve Cardenas to our hometown. A year or 2 later, we started the fan club. It was like just a whole shockwave of once you get older and you have the means, like you say, you know, out here buying the toys. once you can do it, or like Colin said, and Jourdan, you know, they wanted to create something that they wanted to invest in it, that Power Rangers wasn't really doing. And I wanted to create a show that was a little bit different than everything else that was going on. And we started very basic, but now we're kind of making videos about everything.
Right. And you guys, yeah, you've been doing, I've seen your X-Men videos, and obviously that makes sense. You got Wolverine on your, well, you as Wolverine on your logo, but
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Dan, I
What's
see
that?
you have William Schufelt, Red Ninja Steel Ranger behind you. That is awesome. That's my boy. Big shout out. I'm gonna send him this video. He's gonna love it.
well, here's the thing. Everyone on this panel has watched multiple episodes on Ninja Steel on purpose. So, you know, that's how you know this is a good Power Rangers panel.
Yes.
Because we
Shots fired.
sat through it. We sat through it, even though.
All
But
right.
Even
Go
though
watch Rise of the Ninja.
but maybe cut that part when you send it to him. Anyways,
See, I would do a breakdown video on that season. People would be like, "You're too nice." I'm like, all right, whatever.
well, I guess for me, you know, it's funny because you know, me and my brother, we were taken care of a lot by my uncle growing up. So he would come in the summers and watch us because my parents couldn't afford summer daycare or really afford daycare. And even my dad too, but like, you know, they would take us to the comic store since we were little. I remember going to the comic store like I was 4 years old and getting issues. My dad would get issues of me he would get 2 issues. He'd get 2 issues of Spider-Man, 2 issues of X-Men. I thought he was getting it for himself. No, he was getting me one for me to look at, and then he was getting me one for me to have when I was an adult, when I was older.
Wow.
And so like I kind of grew up on that. And then Power Rangers, it was just like that perfect thing. And I was already like, I could at that age, I was in 1st grade, and I could already tell you every member of the X-Men. I could tell you, you know, Spider-Man, his secret identity. I could tell you Superman. I remember watching every year in kindergarten. I watched Superman every day. Christopher Reeve after school when I got home off the bus. I watched Superman that, and then when I got tired of that, I watched Hulk, and then when I got tired of that, I watched Grease. But those were like rotating all the time.
Say Grease?
I said Grease. I love musicals. I don't care who knows it. I love musicals.
Picture, I'm in a leather jacket because I love Grease so much.
Dude, I lived by that movie, and I probably should not have been watching as a kindergartner, but whatever. But I don't think I just like the music. I didn't understand what was like teen pregnancy and all that, you know, gangs and stuff. But yeah, that derailed it. But I don't know what it is about Power Rangers. Just like perfectly like aligned with everything, like the superhero, like. And they were supposed to be kids, even though most of them were like 22, 23 years old on the show. But it was the idea of like being chosen and being able to like access these great powers and be able to do all these amazing things and then go back home and do your homework. Like it was like kind of like the intrigue about like Spider-Man, kind of like that everyday person being able to do that. And I think, you know, even I wasn't seeing it back then because I was seeing the action, I was seeing the Zords and stuff like that. But I was realizing, you know, especially as an adult, like they were, you know, teaching us to be better people. And I think, you know, when I look at back as it now, I was like, man, that show was like really good for me. And I know a lot of you guys are saying like, you know, you dropped off in high school. I didn't drop off until college. I dropped off. I remember Mystic Force was the last thing I watched. And I remember my friends, we were getting ready to go to a party on Saturday night. And I was like, we can leave after Mystic Force because it's having the season finale tonight. And I have all my friends gathered around me in my room, and we were watching Mystic Force, and they were like, dude, why are we watching this? Like, they were like, Heather's at the party right now.
Fuck them.
I was like, dude, what about Korag and Nick and all that stuff, man? and they were like, dude, Heather and the girls are at the party. And I'm like, just hold on, man. Like, it's cool, dude. And so
girls
like,
are Power Rangers.
I was both. I was like, why couldn't it be both? Like, and then I don't know what happened with Jungle Fury. I think I like by the time that Jungle Fury came out, I was just like, I don't think it was, or no, it was Operation Overdrive after that. But like, I was just like too busy to do stuff. And I came back as an adult and watched a lot of those. And I did watch Operation Overdrive, some of it. But I don't know. I think as an adult, it means more to me as it did as a kid, because I felt like it like instilled in me a lot of the values that I go by today. And I think that's the important part for me. And so that I want to kind of talk a little bit about content creating, because I feel like there's a lot of people out there as far as making content that kind of want to know, like, I don't want to say like we Well, you know what? I'll say you guys are all like on the top of your game of as far as the kinds of content that you guys make. Because I feel like everyone on this panel makes different kinds of content, right? And I know there's a lot of people that like ask me for help, and it's kind of hard. It's not a one size fits all sort of thing. And I kind of want to start here with Casey because Casey, you have really detailed content. What do you think about? I guess kind of like what do you think it is like being like a content creator, and what are the things you think are some of the things that have helped you along the way for being a content creator?
Oh gosh, that's an interesting question because I don't know. I mean, I think part of it definitely comes with you have to enjoy it if because you can tell if you enjoy it. And I've made other content before, like um, I've done music, a lot of music stuff, but and none of that, a lot of that didn't really take off. But I find the best content that I've had is when I kind of look at it as like kind of like they call it like a servant's heart. Like I want to try to do something for other people
Right.
in a way, like make them, So I've done some different videos that are kind of geared towards like I hope this either like brings some happiness to you or um, it makes you think about something differently in a positive, maybe in a positive way more than other things. So I mean, as far as that goes, I mean that's kind of how I try to approach it. Is as much as I can, I try to approach it as like I'm doing it to bring people happiness.
Right.
I hope. I mean, I also like to enjoy it myself if I can. That's the hope. But
Right.
yeah, I don't. And I mean, as far as I don't know if there's anything. Did that answer the question? I'm sorry.
No, I think it did. I
Okay.
mean, what do you think about being? What do you think it is the challenges about being a Power Rangers content creator, though? What do you think?
We're a weird franchise.
Yeah.
We're a very weird franchise in a fandom because I mean it's kind of like I feel like it's one of those diagrams, like it's a big circle, and it's like I'm a Power Ranger fan and I've watched every season, and then there's like a little tiny dot that's like I watched it from 1993 to 1995, and it's like they're also a Power Ranger fan.
Right.
And so it's weird when you talk to people who are they'll pull up some picture of like RJ from Jungle Fury and they're like, who cares about that guy? He sucks. And you're like,
Right.
he's
Yeah.
awesome. What are you talking about? But they've never watched it. So they're like, but it's weird to kind of be in that world because some people don't know everything. I mean, it's 30 years of
Right.
stuff. So it's a lot. But I try to remember because since my stuff is so intense about like knowing stuff from every season, I try to remember that like not everybody knows everything, and I have to not be not stick my nose up at people for that.
Right.
If that helps, I don't know.
And I know, and I'm gonna start with you, DJ, but I know the bottom three of you guys are like filmmakers, so it's kind of a little bit. I think it's different, but kind of like similar at the same time, right? So, I mean, DJ, what do you think about being like a content creator, and being a Power Rangers content creator specifically?
Sure. So, in the world of content creating, I think my first introduction was producing and even directing and handling for a lot of influencers, some very successful names like King Vader, Pierre Steps, Irvin Lambert, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I liked being more behind the scenes, and they kept pushing me to the forefront. So if there was like a mentor role or somebody with a deep voice, but there one thing I definitely took from them is their clear dedication to their vision. And then collaborating with Colin on the Power Ranger side of things, I dabbled in a little bit of content creating, actually on the media side of things in terms of just reporting on it. So getting in the heads of the fans, and actually to Colin's point, I've always checked in on Power Rangers, even if it's like, okay, hard dedication or just keeping up with, okay, cool theme. And then, but to answer your question directly, when it comes to like Bloodline specifically, because that's the show I oversee more than anything, it's just being excited about the stories. I think one of the biggest difficulties is probably going off of passion alone and coordinating with, because a lot of this is passion. A lot of this is just doing it from our love for it. And with that comes trying to coordinate with people's schedules, finding other individuals who are just as adamant about it, but also have lives to live. Scheduling is always a thing. Sometimes what you write out isn't what happens with filming, you know what I mean? So you have to adjust and be adaptable. So I felt like for me, it's just being very just being excited about what you want to do. And I have a golden rule, which I know Colin shares, is just do cool stuff with good people. Like literally, that's my big pitch to anybody who collaborates with me. It's just like, do you want to do some cool stuff with some cool people and maybe work with a Power Ranger or two? So,
and Colin, what do you think it's like being like, you know, a Power Rangers content creator, and you know what it is for you?
I think that the Power Rangers community is just a little more accepting, maybe a little more excited. I've been doing fan films for over 10 years. The Power Rangers world is just, they want to see more. They want more, right? And then if you can do it in a way where it's not like, yeah, I have 10 battleizers, but if you like pay homage to the source material, stay to canon, and maybe bring some Rangers back in, but also like they kind of feel the vibe that we are fans too. I think that's what makes it so special, because we research, we know everything, not everything, but we research, we want to expand on the lore or the canon that we know and love. I think that's why the things that we do are not like accepted, but respected, because we're not Dragon Ball Evolution just looking for a paycheck. We are fans, not making any money, but we're doing it because we love it and we want to expand the lore without the limitations that, you know, Hollywood puts on us. So I have a blast doing more Power Rangers content, and it's very, very different from the other content we do, where we have to be very careful and people are kind of mean about stuff. But in Power Rangers, they're like, when's the next episode? You
right.
know? Yeah. That's exciting. It's not like, why are you doing this? It's more like, give me more. And that's really cool for content creators. So the thing that makes it special to me is like, we are very accepted, like, right? If I'm not, I don't want to speak for both of you guys, but right when we started, we were very accepted and everyone wanted to see what we were doing. And then my dumbass went and did 5 shows, and those 5 shows were still things that people liked and wanted to see more of. So I've never experienced that in any other fandom ever.
I mean, I think the interesting thing about what in Jourdan, everybody's films, right, is that for the last 30 years, every year we've got an infusion of new fans into the fandom, right? So even Star Wars, they had like a 20-30 year break, right? X-Men, Marvel didn't get started until 2000, right? And so, but Power Rangers, it had like a 7-year, even Ninja Turtles. Like, I know Ninja Turtles was big, but like it kind of like, it took a while for it to get new fans with new iterations, but Power Rangers was consistent. So while people didn't have their Star Wars, there was Power Rangers and there was new kids. So like even now, like when I do events now and stuff, like, or go out to events, like I meet, you know, dads or moms with their kids, and they're like, oh, we liked Mighty Morphin or Zeo, but they liked Megaforce and Dino Charge. You know, that's their thing. Or even Ninja Steel or something like that. So I think that's what's interesting thing about our fan, and especially your guys' films, is that it's what's so great about your films. Like every year that someone gets older and matures, someone's gonna find your films and connect with it, because it is going to like it's gone to that maturity level for them, which is awesome. Jourdan, what is it like for you being a Power Rangers content creator, and what do you think it specifically is like about content creating that you like doing?
I think the key to all content creation, Power Rangers or not, is like, and it's kind of an echo what everybody's also been saying, but 2 things: passion and discipline. The discipline to keep going, but the passion is the spark that initiates everything else. And it's really, at the end of the day, the passion is why you'll keep going. And Power Rangers is a very weird fandom, and probably the only fandom that's like so starved for content. Because there's been people from the 93 era that have grown up still loving Power Rangers, and they reintroduce it to their kids, but it's always stayed in this one niche, whereas basically every other major brand, like a Transformers or like a Marvel or anything else, have like had other iterations that have worked. And Power Rangers has tried. The 2017 movie was kind of their attempt at that, but it just didn't have the same Hollywood push that other brands did. It never even had like a Michael Bay Transformers level hit.
Hit. I think it's the hit. Yeah.
Hit. Like it didn't. Transformers got like 6-7 sequels. It's because it didn't have that staying power in the theaters. which shows a mainstream appeal that Power Rangers never really got back since the 90s. Like it kind of started and peaked then.
Right.
And ever since then, it's been a drop off of wavering love from the fans because everyone of different ages aren't being served. And it really just, I feel like Power Rangers just needs like that one like major mainstream hit, and maybe that's going to be a reinvention in like animation or something. But in the meantime, it shows you how unique the fandom is, where despite not having that unifying mainstream appealing hit, the fandom is still keeping the lights on for the franchise, and they're still the ones creating content, theories, and speculation, and everybody's. Say what you will about the Hasbro handling of the franchise, people are still looking forward to whatever happens in the future just because of that strong love, and not many things have that. So being a Power Rangers creator is like this really unique like playing field where,
Right. Also, we're bringing back Rangers that really haven't done anything in the world for 20 plus years. All of us are. We're all working with Rangers that haven't done anything in the industry. They came back for our projects, and that's really special.
That is really cool. You guys,
if you don't mind me piggybacking off of that, as you guys were talking, Power Rangers in general, at least for us, is weirdly accessible, not accessible, but has been accessible at the same time.
Right. Yes.
Because we are in that unique position where when you go to a convention, we're talking about 30 plus years of seasons. That's a lot of veterans. That's a lot of newcomers. That's a lot of your connection with certain seasons and certain eras might be stronger than others. And we have been fortunate enough to have relationships prior to us even getting into the Ranger content, you know, whether it's Colin with Schufeld or myself with Chris and other Rangers through media stuff. And, you know, there's always a little bit of luck and circumstance. It's every little bit of dedication, passion, and discipline that Jordan's talking about, but also having that clear vision that is always subject to change. But it's just having that, this is what we love about it. And all of our shows are very different. Obviously, it's not one size fits all. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I'm not going to pretend that, first of all, every geek franchise has its sayers. And that's a beautiful thing. That's what community is. But for us, we believe in what we're trying to do, and they're all different. And that, to me, I think is what makes it special. And I think, I don't know, I think we try to do it for the right reasons. I don't think we're doing it for the clout. I don't think we're doing it to be real Rangers. Colin, what's one of our main rules about us being actual Power Rangers?
We are in their sandbox, but we're happy to be there.
We're just happy to play in their sandbox. You'll never hear us say we're real Rangers. We appreciate it.
but like you.
Now, if other Rangers say it, we're like...
That's awesome. And so that kind of brings me to that next topic. And Dan, I'll start with you. So this is really interesting because I know a lot of us know like different things like behind the scenes and corporate wise, and we all have different connections here and there, right? But we'll start with Dan. What do you think about the state of Power Rangers that it is now, like currently?
Hey, I'm always the positive guy. If you ever watch my channel, I'm like the positive side of life. I always try to look on, you know, the glass is half full type mentality. But it's just, you know, I feel like there's something going on behind closed doors, but we have no idea. We don't have the key to the door. It could be nothing. It could be something. There's just nothing for the fans right now. And I think we're at the point where some fans kind of feel bamboozled, if you will. They promised us this TV-14 series movie, and all of the fans have aged up. Even since then, a lot of the kids 10 years ago are adults now, and they want this project. Like, I want to say 80-90% of the fan base wants something like targeted towards us. Now, we don't know if it's going to be good or not, but we would love to have something that's targeted towards us. Now, they tried in 2017, like Jourdan was talking about, but I think it's time we try again. I've said for years now that we don't have a real kids show for kids anymore. We're in a
Yeah.
weird spot. We have this kids show that's almost like the way it used to be, but the adults don't really like that anymore. The kids don't really like that anymore. We need some type of CGI animation, PJ Masks looking show that can bring back all the old shows. Then that will be your Teen Titans Go cash cow. Then you can give us the adult Titans. There needs to be like a whole business structure here. Now, I know that takes money. These guys down low will tell you that that's a whole thing. But there has to be something for this older generation. So that's where I'm kind of at.
And yeah, I mean, the 2017 cast was fire. Like as far as like some of the best, like all those guys blew up, and of course
They're
it
amazing.
featured the best Power Ranger that was ever conceived, which was Trini Becky G. That was obviously Becky G is the best Power Ranger. All my chat knows I have a Becky G obsession. So Becky G will always be. Becky G's coming here to San Antonio this month. I am so freaking booked in October, but me and my wife are like legitimately like trying to figure it out. I don't know Spanish, but I like Becky G. So getting back to topic, DJ, what do you think about the state of Power Rangers as it is?
Man, 2017. I really do like the 2017 movie. It was missing that overall spark, and I don't know. It's like Power Rangers has its fans. So at the end of the day, it is a kids show. I mean, let's not forget. At the end of the day, it is a kids show. But ever since Nickelodeon and current formula, it is very much geared to. I mean, for a fact, I was talking to some of the marketing team. It is literally geared for 3 to 5 year olds. Like
right.
That is the aim versus, it's like anime where like old school Dragon Ball Z might have had like impaling this and that, while modern Dragon Ball will have like really, really dirty smudges that's supposed to be blood. Back in the day, you may have a green candle. Oh, we got to save Tommy. There's the implication of, death or being on, that kind of stuff, or risk or reward or overarching soap opera plots. But for a fact, some of the formula is very much an infrastructure thing where while there were arcs that could bridge as a soap opera, they're literally told they can't have multiple parters because of distribution. So that any place that's being aired, that child or the consumer can jump right into it. So that's another modernization of the franchise.
Right.
Now, I do believe there is a way, or there is something to make it appeal to everyone. You're not going to make everyone happy, but that one spark that makes everyone go, you know what? I kind of remember this. And also for the new kids, I want more of this. But it also has to be in the hands of, I don't know, just some fresh ideas, because right now it is very formula based. It's very to the point where, 10 episodes here and then the super version of it. That's the formula. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Mega Force, Super Mega Force, Ninja Steel, Super Ninja Steel. I
mean, the key to it is the kids always buying in, no matter what franchise it is, whether it be Star Wars, X-Men, Marvel, whatever, right? Or DC. Like the kids have to buy in because there has to be product demand, right? Like
sure.
That's what makes everything. And the weird thing about Power Rangers is that like there's always been product, but like it hasn't always necessarily been in demand, right? But like that, it's kind of like a weird spot. I think I see what you're getting there as far as like corporate structure and corporate marketing as well.
But also to that standpoint, just to wrap it up, I mean, I do think there's a way to appeal to all masses. I mean, understand that it is for kids, but not necessarily dumb it down. Listen, I love RPM. RPM is one of my favorite seasons of all time. But ask me if I know for a fact if it was lucrative on the back end. It wasn't. That was their I don't give a crap season because they're going to get canceled. Just like In Space was their I don't give a crap season because they were going to get canceled. And then In Space saved Power Rangers, for the record. So there is a way not to dumb it down where you do get an Avatar, The Last Airbender that still appeals. But dude, Avatar is up there with like one of the greatest animation cartoons of all times.
Yeah, that is. I do consider that the best animated cartoon ever.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it is. Jordan, what do you think about the state of Power Rangers? It is. I know you kind of get in that in the last time you were talking.
I mean, yeah, I think if you look at the state of Power Rangers, it's kind of a reflection of what's happening with most major franchises nowadays. I think it's a product of, it's not starting from a place of passion. It's starting from a place of, we have a brand, it is lucrative. Theoretically, we need to make something to milk that brand. and you're hiring people based on that instead of from a place of true inspiration. I think that's why a lot of there's been a lot of complaints with brands recently where it's almost like the next generation's been passed the mantle of something, but not necessarily are the right people for that job, if it makes sense. They're not the people that actually know why the Green Ranger getting the dragon dagger and then losing the shield, why that was so impactful as a kid. You just kind of like have a Wikipedia knowledge of it, and it kind of shows in the how things are written. And it's something that, as me as a writer, you can feel. You can feel it in the product someone makes. And everybody on this panel, my left and right, they're people that are built from passion. You can feel that. I think that's why it resonates with fans. That's why fan projects more often than not will resonate with other fans more so than a lot of the major multi-million-dollar Hollywood productions. But the fact that right now the fandom is kind of on a downward slide because everything's been canceled when it comes to like the future projects like Netflix and but Power Rangers as brand is so broad and it's done so many different things that it can be anything. It can be a kid show. It can be something darker that feels more to like if you want to go R-rated, you can do that. If you want to go in the middle with a teenage thing that I try to do with Unworthy, to try to meet the best of both worlds, you can do that. Me personally, I feel like the brand needs to go in a direction of, if not doing all three things at once. I saw someone make a comment in the chat that there should be 3 Power Rangers shows. I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
But that's a lot to ask any company to like just invest. This thing that has been making money and it's been failing constantly. Just make 3 shows. Just go balls to the wall with it. It's like I don't think that's so if they were to just do one, I think Power Rangers was a kid's show. So kind of going off of what DJ said, it was in '93. It was at its biggest when it was aimed just as kids. But Saban kind of had lightning in a bottle. He almost didn't really even know what he had at the time.
Yeah.
And it worked in that zeitgeist, in the 90s zeitgeist for a reason. It had 90210 vibes. It had all the things I said I love, like giant robots, giant monsters, superheroes, kids, Spider-Man vibes. It had all that. And that hits different in the 90s than it does now in 2024, literally 30 years later. 3 decades is a long time. And a lot of different things. I think we can explain Power Rangers with all those other things, shows you the different expectations that have kind of come from that have come since then. I think now you should meet Power Rangers fans and the culture where it is now. And I think the reason why Unworthy's done as well as it has is because I'm purposely trying to hit that middle of the road. I'm aiming for the 14 because the kids nowadays are more, I'd argue, more mature and more hardcore than I was then. And
No, they are. They are.
As a kid, I like things like Terminator. I like things like Alien, things that were a little bit too much for me. But that's why, as a kid, it had that appeal because, like, someone's like a tattoo of, I'm not gonna be watching this. It's so dark, or like, but it's cool. That's why they made Terminator a serial killer machine into an action figure for kids. That's why I had Happy Meal. Like,
and RoboCop too. I remember RoboCop had figures.
All of those franchises, for the most part, Ghostbusters even. That was not for kids directly, that movie. But
not at all. Not at all.
Like all of those franchises, they didn't talk down to the kids. They were almost. You could say that they was for kids, but they were almost aiming at the adults. And I feel like now more than ever, Power Ranger needs that. And could it work as a kids animated show, like in the vein of a Miraculous Ladybug? Sure. But I also feel like for what it is, like you want to hit that Avengers vibe. That's what's popular. That's what people are looking for. And Power Rangers has never, and again, 2017 tried to do that, but it's never hit it in the right way. It didn't hit that. Power Rangers 2017 almost felt ashamed to be Power Rangers, and that's kind of the problem. But yeah, that's where I think the franchise is now, and where I think it needs to go.
Casey, I see your lip twitching.
Am I twitching? I'm sorry. No, I think like Dan was talking about this earlier. Like I've had a really cool experience because I have 3 kids, and my whole my day. So I'm a stay-at-home dad, and then I have part-time jobs in the evening. So I stay home with my kids, and so I get to have this like beautiful little 2-year-old girl going like, "Can we watch Jungle Fury?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sure. I guess we can. Yeah, sure." So like I get to just share this fandom with them, and I have all my action figures on display, and they're breaking them left and right, and it's like, oh, not the Magna Defender, but okay, fine, but it's like I just want them to enjoy it. But I think that the thing that's cool to watch is that they do. I see there's some people out there who will post like Power Rangers just needs to end, or it just needs to like this or that. And I know we're not in that vein, but it's like when you watch Ninja Steel with Victor and Monty with a 4-year-old, and they fart, man, do they laugh so hard, and they just get such a kick out of it, and it makes me love it.
So it's great.
And I think it definitely, like, Power Rangers is just such a special thing that has kind of just stayed the same thing for a long time. And other, like, Star Wars now has started a kids animated show, and they're trying to go on that market as well. And I think that Power Rangers probably needs to do a kids animated show, because I think I would spend, as a parent, I will spend way more money on that than I will collectibles, because it's for my kids. I'll do it if it makes them happy. And if it's Power Rangers and I can subtly do it for myself, then I'll do it. But I think also, I don't know if you guys have ever thought of this, but I think Power Rangers needs to kind of go in somewhat of a Cobra Kai sort of direction. Something not
point. If they went to me, I'd be like,
yeah, because it's like I think the hard thing is whenever they're like, all right, guys, like, like, and this has happened with some of the projects like Ranger actors are wanting to do, is like, okay, we're going to do a major motion picture. Here we go. And it's like, I think, Cobra Kai started out as just this YouTube show and built. And like DJ, I'll say, man, like, I've never thought for years, I thought there's no way Christopher Kamen Lee would ever do anything in Power Rangers ever again. And I understand why, because they didn't get treated the best on the show. And so it's like, it's totally understandable. A lot of those actors don't have great feelings, but it would be amazing if we could bring them back, and hopefully they get treated right, and so subtly bring in other seasons of Power Rangers. That's like, I've only ever seen Karate Kid 1. And then they'll bring back Terry Silver, and I'm like, oh, I'm all for this. I don't know Terry Silver, but then they show a quick little shot from the movie, and I'm like, all right, we're in, So it's like, if they're just bringing back Troy from Megaforce, it's like, who's that? Oh, okay, cool, we're in. It's like,
I think watch every Karate Kid movie ever.
What?
Casey, you have to watch every Karate Kid movie.
I will now. I need to go back and watch them.
Even the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank. Go ahead, Jordan.
Absolutely.
I've actually seen that one.
But Kai, and it's that links right back to passion, where you can feel that the people that made Cobra Kai are huge Karate Kids fans. To the point where Cobra Kai is probably one of the only, if not the only example of one of the franchises they've revived that retroactively makes all those other movies better. So even Karate Kid 3 was the weakest Karate Kid for sure, but what they did with it in the latest season elevates Karate Kid 3, and I think that's telling about great storytelling, where you take where it's so good that it can elevate the story from past movies and make it better.
Yes.
I know I'm kind of jumping in out of turn. I apologize for this. To everyone's point, number one, it does make everything better. Watch the other Karate Kids, because it does elevate it. Number one, incomplete experience without it. But also, because of it, it's still accessible, to your point, without it. What does that say?
Once a Ranger, always
once a Ranger, baby. So with that said, it does cover all bases. I think one of the biggest problems, and I know I already skipped my turn already happened, but one of the biggest problems is untapped territory. Because I remember talking to the line producer from Bandai at the time with the 2017 movie. They were literally given instructions that they couldn't do stuff like Transformers and like Pacific Rim. And essentially everything takes from everything as far as kaiju. So therefore we got the big mesh Megazord whatever mashup. And then the director literally has gone on the record and said, I wanted a Power Ranger movie without Power Rangers. And that's kind of what he did. And it shows. However, whether I've been successful or not, that's actually what I've been trying to do with like Bloodline, where you can jump in, but one of the coolest things for me is being able to see Andros with Devin from Beast Morphers and be able to bridge those gaps and pay those nods and be able to go back to those seasons and go back to In Space, be like, oh, why does Andros have like ecliptic powers, or why is Devin world building still big connective tissues to me is everything. But
Right.
anyways, to the point is I think one of the biggest issues is tapped territories and untapped territories, because Jourdan Ghostbusters was a comedy first and then became like a collectible. Hey, I want the ghost trap, I want the goggles, I want this. Terminator was definitely what was that?
A very adult comedy.
Oh, huge. And then shout out
The
to that
Ghost
one
blow
goal.
job was enough.
I was about to say that exact same thing, see guys.
I wasn't gonna say it.
I was asking questions. I was like, but I want it. But the point is, like Terminator was absolutely more of a psychological horror. Not necessarily a horror, but like it was kind of a horror movie at
Thriller.
first. Then Terminator 2 franchised the crap out of it with the ultimate sequel ever made. And that's where we're collecting like the Skynet arm. All I'm saying is clear vision and make them want to collect it, make them want to invest in it, make them want to ask the questions. So it's a world they can get into, a la Cobra Kai. I'm going to stop talking now. Thank you guys. I'm going to go now.
No, and it's cool. I do want to start this roundtable, but I want Colin to get his point in about what he thinks about the state of the Power Rangers franchise right now, and then we can like just go off. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was about to lean into the Cobra Kai thing. Where
I think that's a really good point. If you want to,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
No, I know it works like in the realm of toy sales and also like marketing and also social media and adults. You know, like there's a real reason why we get so many sequels and prequels and toys. You know, like we're not dumb. All of us, all 6 of us, and the 7th person watching us, we're not dumb. We know it works. It's grabbing something that works and making it bigger and better, right? And I don't want to toot our own horns, but we are grabbing something that worked and we are inflating it and making it bigger and better. And the things that, man, maybe without the licensing, maybe they could have done. You know, there's a lot of rules and regulations that we don't know. But the state of Power Rangers, honestly, it's dead. It's gone. Legally speaking, you have Playmobil. Can I cuss?
PG-13 cuss.
Who freaking cares about Playmobil? All right, we're worried about the future. But guess what? There are 6 times your 200,000, your million followers. You know, your Jordan's 5 million viewers. There are people that care about Power Rangers. But guess what? We don't care about what they did with Dino Fury or whatever that is. It's the future. So if you find a balance between kids, which is the moneymaker, Daddy, I want a toy, you know, and then you have the parents that want DJ's face bombing. Hold on. You have the parents that could potentially make some more content. Maybe we are the parents. I know there's one parent up here. Then we build the future in like a big bridge to the future of Power Rangers. And also, I think that there's a big potential with Ninja Turtles, Kamen Rider, Justice League, Batman, you know, like all these different things. But everyone's played it too safe. So my final line is this: embrace the crossovers, embrace the mutual love for what Power Rangers is and how beautiful it is and how it can cross over into what we all love. But I will say this: Disney era is the best. Watch it as an adult. Watch it as an adult, and you can still appreciate it.
Oh
I
my
cannot
god.
feel the same outside of Disney era, but that's my opinion.
That's awesome, man. I do have a follow-up question for DJ. So those things that they were put in place as far as like the Pacific Rim and Transformers, was that Saban or was that the studio? Was that Lionsgate?
It was more Lionsgate.
It was more Lionsgate.
I mean, one of the most backwards part about that whole process, only because I know for a fact, is most of the times they come out with the cell gimmick first and then build around it. Now, listen, I really love I really do like the 2017 movie a lot. I do think it was a fresh take. You could argue it might have been too fresh, just because maybe it just wasn't Power Rangers enough. I mean, there wasn't even a Morphin time. I mean, there's a certain charm to, doing the Sentai poses and owning it. I mean, essentially, you could argue that the first Avengers is more Power Rangers than the Power Rangers 2017 movie is.
Yeah,
Just
I can
because
see that. Yeah.
Iron Man's transformations is basically a henshin or a morph. You know what I mean? Black Panther was nothing but Sentai poses. You know what I mean? But even in the same Marvel state, now Marvel is its own gimmick. Now it's its own formula. Now it's its own safe.
Right.
You know what I mean? I say that respectfully. So, anyways, back to answer your question. Yeah, Lionsgate was definitely just like, we don't want it to be like this. We need it completely not based on everything, which is why. But it needs to be like everything, but nothing specific enough. But they were very specific with like the Megazord cannot look like any other kaiju big robot stuff that we've seen.
Even though like Power Rangers kind of like did it first.
Even though they all influence each other, even though
Right.
Spider-Man is the first tokusatsu Power Ranger ever in Japan, even though there's no way you can get away from it and not say, I don't know, man. It kills me every time I see a fan art and it's like, the 2017 movie could have been this. I'm like, yeah, it could have been. It literally could have been anything else. But, we had to give the Mastodon 8 legs. We had to make everything bug-centric, and we had to make all the visors look the same. So I appreciate the movie. I appreciate their approach, but there was definitely some like producer notes that prevented it from being the Power Rangers movie it could be.
I feel like for me, and I don't know if you guys agree, like I felt, watching it, obviously as an adult, right? They were relying too much on the fact that they actually knew they were going to get a sequel. Like that was what's going to happen.
I agree with you on that.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I think had they done a sequel, because the sequel could have been a lot more action packed. And I think, or they could have hit the ground running, so to say, in the sequel. I think had they done that, people would have looked at the first one a lot more like, oh, what a great like build up,
Yes.
Because I kind of viewed that like with the Matrix. The first time I saw the Matrix, like the first Matrix movie, I was like, they didn't even do anything till like the end. I was like, like when Neo finally gets his powers. But it's like a lot of people love the first Matrix movie because it was such a great, like the plot line was so good. And I think that I just think it would have gotten so much more respect had there been a sequel.
Jordan, I know Jordan, you wanted to say something.
Oh, it's just that that tends to happen a lot where they'll make a movie and then tease the movie you want to see in the sequel. Like I think the new Ghostbusters, the 2016, not the new one, but the 2016 Ghostbusters ended with like, oh, it was a phone call from Gozer, the Gozerian. It's like, then why not make that movie? Like, why would you tease? The same thing with the Green Ranger, and then the 2017 movie, I feel like the tease wasn't even strong enough. It was like a jacket. Like you're gonna do that, you got
blowing up Locker too. The Locker blew up. Let's give it fair.
But you got to show me the Green Shield foreman or somebody,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta really show what the fans would be looking for in that, and it's not just a jacket where it's like, Tommy, you guys know. It's like, yeah, but and it kind of goes to what Stan Lee used to say all the time, that everyone's first comic or every comic is someone's first comic. You want to just put all of it in. You don't want to leave anything on the table. And then whatever the good idea is you put in that first thing, then maybe if you're lucky enough, if it pops off, then you get the sequel. But if instead of like saving the good stuff for the next thing, it's like that's not the way to do it. Got to be all in.
It's funny because I think we're getting away from. I want to say like use Star Wars as an example, right? Like George Lucas made that movie assuming nothing was going to happen after, right? Like I'm putting it all in. I know this is episode 4 in my head, but I'm calling it Star Wars because I don't know if I'm going to have another movie after this. They let me do this, right? And then you got, okay, it became a thing. And now let's build upon it, right? And I think there's a lot of properties and franchises now that are like, no, we'll get a next season. Or no, we'll get a next movie. And it's just kind of that assumption. And audiences, I think, are a little bit tired of it. And it's just kind of, I don't know. I think maybe one good example is like Divergent. It was like those were like okay movies, and then it was always the assumption that they were going to finish it, and then they never finished the freaking movies. Like it's just a dropped off storyline because they were always like they were trying to. What was the thing at the time? Harry Potter. That was like we were getting all the books, right? But that was a thing that had already. I know Divergent was a book series before, but Harry Potter had already earned that from its fan base, where Divergent didn't, and most people coming into Divergent were like new viewers, right? So And I think that's the thing with Power Rangers is like they were assuming like, oh, everybody knows who Power Rangers is. Yeah, but like when's the last time a lot of them watched it? You know what I mean? So they were really hoping that it was going to be that lightning in the bottle of the 93, which is I think is one of the most hardest things in media to ever replicate as far as like how big Power Rangers was with no social media, no marketing. Like all they had was like, you know, toys on the shelves and the show on TV, you know, and that's a lot more than others did. You know, He-Man just had the toys, they didn't have a show. You know, Ninja Turtles had a comic, and then they had some toys, and then they went to the show. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of all different wares. DJ, I know you're. What do you want?
No, it was just more like I can't stress enough how much of a different time that was, though, because
True.
it was uncharted territory.
Yep.
Power Rangers was so fresh at the time. Literally, we're gonna film 10 minutes of original content and slap on original stuff that's already been done in Japan.
Right.
But the cast was cool. It was cool to be friends and wear do-rags and still clean up at a park. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that uncharted territory had a lot to do with it, where this is an overall industry thing where it has to be a franchise to be greenlit. Half of the movies that we'll never get like another Forrest Gump again, just based on being a movie. It has to be a franchise movie. The Mario Brothers movie had to hint at the spoiler alert, you know, at the end, Yoshi coming up. Everything has to be led in that direction. That's how it does get greenlit. That's like an actual conversation that happens nowadays. You don't really make money if it's not a franchise movie. Otherwise, just put it on a streaming service. Just put it on the Netflix. Just put it on an Amazon Prime or a Hulu. It's an overall mentality of Hollywood currently.
Right. And actually, I'm like really surprised that Netflix kind of, or you know, that Netflix didn't want to go forward with any sort of Power Rangers deal, because Netflix has like these big mega star properties, right? Like they have Stranger Things, they have Cobra Kai, but what do those franchises not have? They don't really have toys that sell. They don't have product that sells on the market. And I think that's what they wanted with Power Rangers, that they wanted, like, we wanted this original show to be on Netflix, right? Like something that is new and fresh, right? And we want the toys to be out there too, and we want a cut of it, right? And so I think I was really surprised that Netflix had moved on from it, because, well, not only that, but with the Hasbro going on, and we kind of know some of the backstory behind that, but like it's something that Netflix doesn't really have, right? Like, yeah, we see Stranger Things, like they need, like Stranger Things didn't even have like Eddie's shirt ready to go, like that was like so popular during the last season of Stranger Things, and whatever toys that they had with Bandai, those things were terrible, man. Like those toys look so bad. So I
how well are the toys even doing? Because then you have Hasbro like apparently simplifying the Cosmic Fury suits for toys, but then the toys never happen.
Never happened.
Yeah.
Like where it's like it's inexplicable decisions. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. It's like how does that make sense? And,
well, I mean, that's the CEO dying that believed in Power Rangers, and then the new CEO is more of concerned about like Magic the Gathering and building up that side of what they own, rather than, because he said in his last, and this goes way off topic, but he said in his last earnings call, like they are more interested in collecting properties and IPs than they are like making anything. I'm pretty sure from Hasbro being a toy company, I'm pretty sure soon from Hasbro, we're not going to see them making toys. We're going to see them collecting like IP, like a record label. Like that's what their goal is right now. Go ahead, DJ. I know he was. Do you want to say something?
That's something to say, but I also don't want to like, you know, make it all about whatever. But I will say this: at the end of the day, Power Rangers needs Netflix way more than Netflix needs Power Rangers. That's just the truth.
Yeah, that's true.
Like even back with like Once and Always, man, I had some insight on that like way before it came out. Like I already knew who was coming back and who wasn't coming back, and there was a big part of David Yost not coming back because of demands. Not to turn into that show, but my point is, whatever negotiations happened with the Netflix and Hasbro for Once and Always, they really didn't believe in it. I mean, you could argue like, oh, you can tell with the budget, but like they did it as we worked out a deal, but it was never, unfortunately, it was never going to be that pop off that they wanted it to be. Yeah, sure, connected to Cosmic Fury, et cetera, but at the end of the day, Netflix doesn't need a kids show to sell toys to have. Power Rangers would benefit a lot more from Netflix than Netflix would. Like they saw the numbers is what happened. That's the reason why the Cosmic Fury toys never happened, was like as much as we're just like, oh yeah, they're going to come out with figures with these new designs. Maybe the Morpher came out. That's it.
Yeah,
maybe.
well, and the Megazord came out too.
Sure.
Yeah.
And now there's actually there's
Halloween
costumes
costumes.
right now at Walmart. Is
And
it
Halloween
Walmart?
costumes.
Yeah. Colin, what do you think about all that?
What do I think all about? What are you talking about? It's
What-
been like 15 minutes. What do you want me to comment on?
I just wanted to bring it.
What do you think about all that? DJ Rivers, great commentary. Moving on. No. What do you want me to comment on? I'm ready.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess what do you think about like Netflix and the Power Rangers deal and all that stuff?
Oh man, Netflix is chilling, dude. They do these. Netflix, don't sue me or don't ever hire me. They do these bullshit shows that make millions of dollars. Who cares? Power Rangers, not a big worry. They got like Seaside in Seattle, and they make millions of dollars. We're all good, dude. They're fucking fine. Oh shit, sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's fine.
What I'm saying is, I'm with DJ. They don't need Power Rangers. Someone does need Power Rangers when they see the big potential of, again, not to toot our horns, us three down here, and also you guys too. You get it. Connecting 30 years. The fact that, like, think about Marvel. They all connect back to shit stuff back to like 2001, right? Like, there's potential there. Someone just has to have the licensing, can utilize it, and connect it.
Right.
Us nerds, us fans that lose money off of making it, that is special. We can connect everything. Man, they did Once and Always, and they barely connected some things. Correct me if I'm wrong. Guys? No? All
No,
right.
I mean,
no.
A few
So,
things. A few things.
What I'm
Few
saying is,
things.
like, someone smart, some streaming service is like, okay, could I please get this 30-year legacy show, and I'm going to connect it all. You know, that's money making. Netflix is like, yeah, I guess I'll let you make a show. Like, they don't get it. Like DJ
Yeah.
said, Power Rangers need Netflix. Netflix doesn't need Power Rangers.
well,
Okay.
they don't even have the catalog. Sorry, I didn't.
And
mean to
also,
interrupt.
that's what I'm saying. It's like someone could potentially fight for it for 30 years of content, connect it all, and guess what? There'll be kids, teens, adults, everything, and like make it really special. So to not answer your question, I'm saying Netflix is so wrong, but a fan could make it really, really special.
Awesome. So we'll move on to the next. I want to talk about the community because I think the top here might have a different understanding of the Power Rangers community than the bottom because you guys are like Power Ranger gods pretty much. So, well, I mean, you guys are continuing what we want to see. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Let's all morph right now. We're
just
not
do it.
gods.
Just do it. Nah. But so I want to kind of talk about the community a little bit now. I work in a position like in real life. I don't talk about my real life a lot on my channel, but like I work in a thing where like I see there's a lot of how do I say this? A lot of I don't want to say like fighting, but like it's a very stressful situation all the time in my job, right? So and I saw a big change happened with people and how people responded to one another. And I'm not trying to get political, but in 2015 is when I saw like a big change of how people treated other people, right? And that was at my job because my job requires me to interact with people a lot. So in that, do you think you guys have seen a big change in the community from when you guys started being more public figures? And this goes to everybody that started being more public figures to now. What do you guys think? Yeah, go ahead, Colin.
It started really nice. I'll say that. Then it went kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like it went like everyone wasn't just doing it because they loved it. It was because they wanted to be like legitimized or something. And I think it's the wrong way to do it. Like we all do it because we love it. And it's so great to work with people that we respect. Then there were some people that like did what we did, but like went in a wrong way. We're like, I'm the best of this Ranger. And it got kind of weird. And that's not why we do it. We do it because we love the franchise. It's our love letter to the world. And yeah, things got a little weird more recently, but it started awesome. And then I got really excited again off Morphicon because us three were all together. and it made me really excited again. But it started super fun, super like lighthearted, very like Jourdan said it best, not competition but community. Then it went more competition, and I didn't like that. That's not why I did it. It's not why I did any of this. And then I backed off, and then I came back in. I was so glad to see these guys with me. And then now I feel better than ever, but that's how I feel personally.
What about you, Casey? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it is strange because I think when I first started doing videos, it was all extremely positive. Everything, people, because if someone at that time, it was like, it was hard to find my stuff. So if anybody found it, they must have really searched hard for like Power Ranger content, And so it was all very positive. And I think you hit any point where the algorithm pushes you out to enough people that you start to get people who are like, I don't know why they even clicked on the video. Like I would say, I did a Turbo breakdown, and I called it season 1 and season 2 as far as the casts. And the first line of my second video is, okay, there is not 2 seasons of Turbo, but like, this is why I said there was a guy who commented, was like, you're a moron. There's only 1 season of Turbo. And I'm like, that's the first line of the video. You didn't even listen to the first line of the video. It was hilarious. But I don't know. It's funny how some people will say like, oh, well, they delete comments. And it's like, yeah, I delete comments. If someone's being mean to other people, I delete it. If you were in my house and you started calling someone names, I'd be like, you need to leave. I wouldn't accept that. And I mean, in a way, I feel like, our channels, whatever we do, it's like, we're going to cultivate the type of people who like want to watch our stuff. So I always try to stay positive. If someone's being mean in the comments, I block them or I delete their comment. And it's funny there's some people who act like that's like a wussy move or something for deleting those. But I mean, there's people who really, really, truly love it. And I know what you guys mean by like competition, because I think some people get into it and they're just really Craig Ferguson. If you know Craig Ferguson, he has this whole thing about talking about imposter syndrome, and he says that he has.
I have that.
And like maybe I don't know if that's the right word, but like he says whenever he starts writing, the first line of his book is the first line. The second line of the book is in his head, the acceptance speech for the award for writing the book. And he goes, and I have to stop myself and not let myself do that. And I think that's what it is like, I made a couple YouTube videos and left it. And like 6 months later, all of a sudden they blew up. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. I got a bunch of followers. This is weird. But there's some people who go into it day one, like, I'm going to be the biggest Power Ranger YouTuber ever. And it's like, if that's what you want to do, you're going to, I don't know. You have to enjoy the journey. And if you're just not going to be satisfied because like, oh, Dan Brosnan has more followers than me. That's,
Dan Brosnan has more followers than everybody.
But if that makes you mad, like that's a problem. Like you need to just enjoy it. And so I think there's a huge part of the fandom that just absolutely love it. And there's a part of people who see maybe some of us making content and go like, oh, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to be bigger. And it's like, that's, you can't, that's not the point. It shouldn't be the point. So.
Dan, I know you have a really unique thought on this. What do you think?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to compare this to my DJ business for a second. So like during the day I do YouTube, but every weekend I run a pretty successful DJ and photo booth company, and we do a bunch of weddings. And out here there's a bunch of DJs, but there's even more people getting married. And some people like to treat it like a competition, and you don't. You worry about your own. Some DJs try to, like come in and take over and try to be the best, but it's not about being the best. It's about providing a good service. And I think it's the same thing with YouTube. I'm never comparing. Now I do watch everyone else to kind of, and sometimes I do piggyback off of videos. I do certain like I love to give everybody their credit and talk about it and stuff like that, but we're our own people. And at the end of the day, I try to stay on that positive side. I think that some people look into like fall into that comparison. Like, yo, I need to compare myself to this. I need to compare myself to this. Just worry about yourself. That's my biggest thing. And I've realized, like, when you're happy with what you're doing and you're passionate about it and you're good in your own skin, other people are going to be magnetized. I've had so many people that have quote unquote like came up to me and been like, dude, like you normalize Power Rangers being cool again as an adult. Like I watch your videos and I want to go meet Power Rangers again. I feel cool buying a toy. I don't feel like people are judging me. And that's what it's all about, being comfortable in your own skin and quit comparing yourself, because I used to have that problem years ago when I first got into music and DJing and stuff. But to really be successful, you have to shut that stuff out, not just in YouTube, but in life. So if anybody can take that piece of advice, I'm telling you, it helps.
Jourdan, what do you think about the community of how it's been and how it is now?
I don't know. I've seen a lot in terms of general communities. I used to Blur Vision's a meme page, so I've always been part of like the superhero community. So I've had my finger on the pulse of fandom for a long time, including Power Rangers. I definitely have seen what you're talking about it getting worse since 2015. But I don't know if worse is the right word, because I don't like when I see a lot of interviews for Star Wars or Marvel, and you see people talking about like, oh, the fandom is toxic. The fandom is toxic. You see that about everything everywhere.
Right.
But I think what you're seeing is it's multiple factors, but you're seeing the fact that fandom's become way more mainstream than it was prior to 2015. Since then, it's definitely exploded in terms of mainstream popularity.
Right.
Then you're just kind of working the numbers of like how many people, if you have 1,000 people in the room, how many people are like vocal, but maybe aren't all there, had a bad day, or are too young to even know what they're really saying, trolling on purpose. Like,
yeah.
So if you're in fandom, and this has always been true, especially if you're like a nerd back in the day, you have to have a thick skin, I think. You have to be able to let things kind of roll off your shoulders. Because, you don't know what someone's going through, and the internet's such a big place with so many people just kind of just bumping into each other haphazardly that, yeah, you're going to have the hardcore followings that are going to be your friends and like are hardcore supporters and are polite. And, and most people are. I would say that 99% of people are genuinely good and or at least neutral and don't want any problems for no reason. But then you have that 1% and that 1% is everywhere. But unfortunately, 1% is also very vocal. So
yeah, that's true.
Have that thick skin. It's gonna feel like one comment. You can have 100 good comments, but you have one really mean, nasty, negative comment. And that's the comment you're gonna remember. That's the comment that's gonna color your perception of the rest of the fandom or the group or the community, let's say. So I was trying to move with that in mind. And the bigger you get, the more of those people you're going to encounter.
The percentage grows. Well, I mean, the actual number in the percentage.
Yeah, the number in the percentages grows.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that thick skin, it's going to feel like you're being attacked on all sides.
Yeah.
I try not to have that color my perception of the community overall. Because I do, we usually deal with person on a one-on-one basis. Even the people that might leave a mean comment, sometimes you just comment back and go, hey, sorry you felt that way, or hey, how you doing? I'm glad you're a fan of Power Rangers, even if you don't like this, for example. And they might turn around and be like, oh, wow, you commented. Oh, that's awesome, man. It's great. I mean, it's like you don't know where that energy was coming from. So I try not to put my own perception onto it.
Right.
And I think we kind of all move with that in mind when it comes to fandom in general, that we won't, I think, become bitter. And that's where the divide happens, where you start othering the other side, where you go like, oh, all these people that, and then you start making comparisons of things that don't actually have comparisons. Like, oh, you didn't like X, that means you're this, that means you're that, that means, and then you start.
Yeah.
And then there's no communication, and it all breaks down, and then you have a divided community. And I think that's been happening with all fandom since around that time in 2015.
Right.
But yeah, just leading with positivity is the way to go about all of this. Back to earlier, what I was just saying about just, staying in your lane, not looking over the fence and feeling like the grass is green on the other side, and just coming at things from a place of passion and dedication, and you'll start fostering the like-minded people around you, which I think this entire live stream is kind of a testament to that. Just individuals that kind of like put their own little light up in the darkness, and then other people that have the same light kind of gather.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. And I think that's a big thing I think I see that a lot in our community, and not to talk too long, but like we seem to all collaborate a lot. I think a lot of the Power Ranger content creators do, and whether it be in making films or me and Dan and Casey teaming up, or Deoxy, or any of like the bigger Power Ranger content creators out there, I feel like we've all been, whether Power Rangers is going the way that we want, where we're trying to like put a positive spin on it, or positive light on it, so that the community can be more healthy. And I think that's a big thing. DJ, what do you think about the community since the last couple of years into now?
I think community by definition is a lot of opinions. That's unavoidable. That's how community works. Now, navigating that, I think having what grounds you is very important. I know for myself, and let me two of you, I know one of Colin, essentially, I know he agrees. We try to kill him with kindness, but we're human. We're human. It's all about growth. The way we create content today is not the same way we created content 5 years ago, 4 years ago, et cetera, et cetera. So I think knowing your reasons is very important. Like, we have stories to tell. We're not doing it just to make ourselves the stuff, the best. We actually have stories to tell. You know what I mean? So is everyone going to agree with your stories? Not necessarily. But staying true to your reasons why you're doing this, I think is very helpful. Sometimes having a good, and I hesitate to give that advice where it's just like, oh yeah, talk to your friends, lean on the, sometimes you may or may not have that. Sometimes you might be more introverted about it. You might internalize it a little bit more.
Or sometimes we may be that. Oh, that's something that's happened a lot with me. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
People reach out to us as content creators because they may not have that friend. And it's kind of
Correct.
a hard responsibility to have sometimes.
Right. And that's where I feel like that growth comes from, because what might be, it takes what it takes to start understanding audience and your community. You might realize, to Jordan's point, you don't know what they're going through. But beyond that, you don't know how they are in their everyday lives. They may have needs, they may not. I don't want to touch on that too much, but I'm saying you may not know how they navigate in general. And the fact is, having a comment section on any platform is the easiest outlet with very little repercussion in the world. It is so easy to make a comment. So understanding that and navigating it, well, you know what, I'm going to keep doing me, or we're going to keep doing us. I'm lucky enough to have at least a few options of being able to soundboard, be able to have conversations if it gets to me. But other than that, I try to understand that everyone's opinion is their opinion.
Right.
And we have stories to tell. You'll never see me, right, like TK Johnson be like the man, and like he gets his butt kicked in episode 2, and I had to get bailed out. We have stories to tell. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is there are content creators out there who sometimes I think we make it look easy, and it's not. It's easy to watch it and be like, oh yeah, and I'm not gonna speak for everyone, but I know I'm grateful anytime someone hits us up and they're like, yo, write me in, we want to be down, put us in. If it was that easy, guys, great. It's not. It is very specific writing, because of the stories we want to tell. And then some just want to be that extra powerful, I'm the man ranger, and like, good for you, do you. And if not everybody gets their shine, sometimes it becomes like a competition thing, like you say.
Right.
All I know is staying true to your reason, I think, is very helpful. And then stay in your lane.
And it's, I don't know if any of you guys have been on my Facebook page, on the Legacy Nerd Facebook page, but
dude, that page is hilarious.
Dude, it is, but it is I call it the Wild West, because
it is funny. You don't mess around. You go from Power Rangers to like sexy women. It's so good.
Yeah. And then I'll go to, what did I put up today? Actually, I put in a really weird, I thought it was weird for me, but it was important to me because I did the Days of Our Lives. John Black passed away. And it was like weird because it was like I felt something, because I used to watch Days of Our Lives every day with my mom after I watched Nickelodeon, because that was her 1 hour she got to watch something. So I was like, I felt it today. So anyways, that was a weird post, but I just want to talk about, as far as the comment section on my page, is that I can't keep up with them. And there's a lot of stuff. And I can put up comment, or put up a post like about Agatha, like, oh, I liked episode 2 of Agatha all along. oh my gosh, you know, and the comments will be like, you sold out, you know, you Disney, whatever you are. Or I liked, you know, I put like, I hated episode 2 of The Acolyte, but I really liked episode 3. I can't remember what it was in that order, which one was bad and good, but you know, just the comments were insane. And to Casey's point, and to a lot of your guys' points, as far as the comments go, is I think for us as content creators as well, and as far as the community goes, we have a responsibility in making sure that our community is going in a positive direction, whether, you know, someone disagrees with that or not. And so, you know, I hate to say this, and this kind of brings us to my last topic, but like I'll put up a thing about Jason David Frank, right? And people are like, coward. People flood my comments with coward. And I have to like delete comments and stuff like that, because there at some point someone's going to read something and it could be triggering, right? Like whether it's sort of like a responsibility. And yeah, I am not even joking. Like and that's the only way I block people.
Same thing happened on mine before. Same type of thing, talking about the situation. I know what you mean, bro.
So they're saying he's a coward for what happened?
For
that
suicide.
sucks.
Yeah.
Sick.
And it kind of gets into our next discussion a little bit, but like I just want to start by saying, like, on my channel, like, you know, I use real words because I think it's important to use real words when you talk about mental health and stuff like that. So I don't say like self-deletion or anything. Like I say suicide, and you got to say what you mean. Otherwise, if you don't say what you mean, doesn't the message you might try to be put out is not getting across, right? So I was going to start with that, but as far as, because our community has been rocked as far as like Jason David Frank passing away and the suicide and the way that he passed away. Do you think the community and the brand has suffered from that, from Jason leaving us? And whoever wants to go first, because this is a difficult subject.
In a way, yes. I think, and it's very weird, but you know, after he passed away, it felt like a year or two later, you saw the Gold Ranger triplets go crazy on the fans. I just saw so many different things happen that, and maybe I'm wrong, and I don't mean to be mean or anything, but I feel like if JDF was here, half of the crap wouldn't happen. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, you know, maybe like, and we don't know because he's not here, but he was the glue that was keeping everything together. Like there was something about JDF that half of this stuff wasn't happening. And then he's gone, and all of these things, even like with the brand, you know, I don't have too much to say about it, but because I don't know all of the facts, all I know is he's gone and things are just deteriorating.
Whoever wants to, I'm not going to call names on this one. So,
I mean, going off of what Dan was just talking about, it definitely does feel like JDF's passing left a void, and there's something to be said about strong men keeping other egos in check. And I think because he was definitely the top of that, I don't think it's debatable. He was the top of the Power Rangers hierarchy totem pole, whatever you want to call it. And since then, I mean, you know, people like the triplets might have had their ego flare-ups because there is that power void, vacuum, whatever.
Right.
And yeah, the fandom itself definitely has felt different since then. It's felt like he was the person that was trying to keep the lights on the most in terms of the original, like in terms of the actors. He was a champion of the show so often over so many seasons that he became like a generational icon for. He was synonymous with Power Rangers. You thought Power Rangers, you thought JDF. And to speak to even the coward comments, as sad as it is, I had to think about it. I was like, that's an insane thing to say.
I actually get a lot worse. I just can't repeat what.
Well, I mean, I can't speak to those things. I don't see those comments. But the coward thing, I think I have seen before. And I think love and hate are like this. It is just two sides of the same coin. I don't know if they're quoting this specifically, but I do know that JDF used to talk about that subject matter a lot and use that word to describe it because he had that going on around him in his own life. So maybe that's just a person that was a fan that became spiteful and is using those words against him post his passing, which is dark. But that goes back to like, you don't know what's going on in someone's head. You don't know why people say what they say. You know, it takes energy. It takes energy to even make a comment like that on a Power Ranger fan page. Like it speaks to, on some level, there's some kind of fan sometimes, some win. But I think that just it speaks to the pain that his passing has left, and that's why that subject matter is so important, and why we, you know, I don't want to quote Linkin Park, but every light matters, and even when one goes out, it makes a ripple, it leaves an impact, and he was too big to not leave an impact.
I think a lot. I don't know. I think for me, like on a personal level, when people say something like coward, something terrible, for me, I always think about how overwhelmingly lucky I am, because I do, like, my family. I have a long history of alcoholics in my family due to like a chronic depression, and I have my father for years, like, he trained me, like, you got to keep your emotions in check, you got to keep yourself in the right place, and like when you're going off the deep end with depression, you got to figure out how to pull yourself out of it. And like, he really trained me, and on that side, I'm so grateful for my life and growing up that way. And when my wife's a teacher, and I this is may seem off subject to some people, but I think about this a lot, is that she had a student that she taught at school for a while, that a lot of kids like came from trailer parks and like some lower income schools or areas. And this dad, he was dropping his kid off late to school, and he was in the parking lot slapping his kid across the face over and over and over again. And to think, like, that kid goes back and he lives with that person every day, and I had a dad who loved me and showed me, like, I just, like, you cannot possibly know what that person has gone through. And I know that JDF had a rough life growing up, and I know that he had some issues, like some different things that he struggled with. And so when people say coward, I don't know. To me, it's just like, you have no idea for sure what he's going through. You don't know if he had a support system. And I know he had people he talked to, but you don't know how strong that was, if he felt any sort of support or where he was at. Because I can't sit there and say, like, oh, I've been there. Like, I've had chronic depression for sure. I had a loving, supportive family. That's such a different comparison to people who don't have that. So, and other things, like, some people don't have friends, and some people have an amazing friend group that keeps them together. So I just, people saying that, I understand maybe it's a personal thing of, like, they feel like they don't want to think about him doing that, because that makes them feel like maybe they could lose that battle, or maybe that's where it comes from. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. Something like that makes me feel very grateful. And I wish that, I know a lot of people are hurting, and I wish they could maybe look at a moment like that and try to find the things in their life that are positive, and how they maybe have an advantage over someone like JDF did in their life, because of who they have supporting them.
Did anybody else before we...
I mean, I guess I'll jump in. Number one, anyone who speaks ill on those we've lost like that, how dare you? How dare you? It is as simple as that. The word battle's been brought up a couple of times, and we all have our battles, man. Sometimes we get through them. Sometimes we brush it off. Sometimes it's a fleeting thought, and sometimes that thought stays. And you don't always know what you're going to do. A person who's never done anything bad in their life could get provoked on the road, all of a sudden road rage. So that's number one. But speaking on JDF specifically, his presence on the show was undeniable. His impact on the franchise was a force to be reckoned with. But don't get it twisted. He single-handedly kept Power Rangers, at least on the fan convention, personal level, he helped spark that. He helped spark that movement. He was going to conventions before headlining conventions as a Power Ranger was even a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's played every role. Like, don't get it twisted. He wasn't, every version of his marketing wasn't always the, hey, let's just be great. I mean, sometimes he was down to be the villain and be the Green Ranger. Let's do some MMA. Let me call out CM Punk and all that. Who remembers that stuff?
I really...
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll bring it on anytime, time and place. I'm there. Let's go. But the point is, he kept it relevant from doing that. And then finally he landed on, you know what, let's just live fearlessly.
Yeah.
So single-handedly, not only was his impact for the show during the show what it was for the brand and fan interest, which is such a driving force for IPs nowadays. You can say a lot of things with any Ranger or any heroes that you may or may not have met. He was a hard worker. And I can't begin to say whether or not this person would do this if he was here, or maybe this wouldn't happen if he was here. I will just say we'd be better off if he was here.
Yes, I agree.
I agree. Okay, guys. So a lot of us have, because of, you know, how far we've gotten and the things that we do, and, you know, for me doing some things right, we've gotten to work with some of the Rangers and some of the cast. I want to ask you guys, whether it be interviewing or, you know, I know DJ who you're going to say, but who do you think of the cast, of all the 30 years of the Power Rangers cast, you think you've enjoyed most working with, or, you know, talking to, or being around? And I'll start with DJ because I already know what he's going to say.
Do you know?
No, maybe I don't know, actually, because I've had drinks with that guy too. So
He's
that was
gonna choose me. He's
that
gonna
was a
choose
whole
me.
thing.
Well, dude, we don't call each other Rangers. I can't say
Oh yeah, yeah.
disqualified. No. Otherwise, Seabass. No. So it's to the point where I see, like, cussing or not, I see Chris as my dumbass big brother now. So it's that separation between Andros and Chris is like pretty line drawn at this point. No,
Yeah.
but I'm honored. I will say, in regards to him as a topic, I'm honored to even be associated in any capacity with, whether it's in space, whether it's Red Space Ranger, whether it's a Red Raider. I'm honored beyond words when it comes to Christopher Kamen Lee. However, prior to even the content that we're making, extended universe, dark multiverse, whatever, unworthy, whatever, I had the pleasure of working with Catherine Sutherland on a short film that I did called Coins. And it was this promo thing that we did for Starlight Studio thing. And that's where I first met her, because I used to do, oh, sorry, I heard something. But we used to, because I used to be involved in a lot of media stuff, so interviews and stuff like that was a thing. But I remember specifically booking Kat, and I was working with my buddy Steven Zarita from Hyperdrive Picks. Shout out to Steven Zarita. And I remember us just talking, and at one point we were like, "Dude, this is the second Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger, dude. This is the second dude. We're working with Catherine. We're working with Kat, man. This is cool, right? I mean, this is." So I'm not gonna lie, that was probably one of my biggest, like, dude, that's Kat, man. That's Kat.
I remember seeing that video too. I think that was one of the first things I ever watched. Like,
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah, I can remember it, watching it and where I watched it, and then like, because I remember at that time I was like, peeking in, like I couldn't afford stuff like that, and I think that was about the Starlight coin, or maybe it was a promo for Starlight coin.
Yeah, I'm part of Starlight Studios, so that was a whole.
That's what I thought, and I've
thing.
always been confused on that, but we'll talk about that later. But I remember watching that and being like, man, I wish I could get that stuff, because I always kind of like peeking in on stuff that I wish I could get, and you know, I eventually got some stuff, but it took me a while. Anybody else? Anybody that worked with one of the? Go ahead, Colin.
So blessed to work with so many Rangers, but the most recent one was the Thunder Brothers from Ninja Storm, and that came through like sheer luck. Thank God DJ was there to direct. Thank God I was there to be there. Thank God that we had some DP to be there. Thank God I had VFX. Like everything that was like lined up in those 10 minutes was not supposed to be there. You have to imagine. And also Ninja Storm is one of my favorite seasons. My second favorite season, Dino Thunder's number one. But second is Ninja Storm. And I like had pitched it to them 2 years ago at Morphicon. I was like, what if we did something? He was like, yeah, maybe, mate. And I was like, okay, this guy's not into it. But then I think that maybe he was like, all right, this guy's not messing around. He's doing this. He's working with other real Rangers. Okay, maybe we should do it. And then I went up to him and Jorge, the Navy Ranger. I was like, what if we all did it together, us three? And then it was kind of like, yeah, sure, kiddo, like this. And I was like, all right, it's not going to happen. Then I went up and I was like, guys, I brought wardrobe. I brought a crimson jacket and a blue shirt right now, let's go. They're like, no, I don't know. Came back again. Okay, it's now or never. And then their agent was like, no, don't go. And then we went off, filmed, DJ directed. I worked with people that I never like thought I'd work with before. And then we did like this big like sequence, and it was just the most spectacular thing I've done in my Power Ranger career. So I'm gonna go Thunder Rangers for sure.
Rangers.
Well, I've got an answer since DJ said that Christopher Cayman Lee wasn't his. I'm gonna say Christopher Cayman Lee. And if you're watching, clearly I'm the bigger fan. I'm just kidding.
Fine words, bro.
Clearly, you don't have to deal with them. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But it's just, I mean, and thanks to DJ for even making that happen. And that kind of made our dark multiverse a thing. But in space, like I was also that kid that, you know, I started with Mighty Morphin, and I remember distinctly being told, like, you still watch Power Rangers around it when In Space was happening. And In Space is what solidified my love for Power Rangers for my life. Because it was like, no, you can't shame me. It's really dark. Jourdan died in this season. This is not, you can't tell me nothing. It is an adult show as well. But yeah, just the surrealness of being able to work by proxy with Christopher Cayman Lee and through the ADR and Patrick David to reprise their roles from a season that is probably my favorite as in terms of like storylines, my favorite season of Power Rangers. And it's got because it has all of those space opera and space.
It's Power Rangers Star Wars, man.
You know,
That's
Star
what it
Wars,
is.
the Star Wars elements that I love. And in continuing that storyline in Psycho Menace and having Andros be what I always kind of imagined him to be anyway as a Luke Skywalker figure was just perfect to bridge that gap between Star Wars and space. So having that happen as a fan is like, oh, wow. Because of his voice, it feels like it's literally continuation in space. So again, thank you, DJ, for making that happen.
You killed it though, man. I remember when we were doing the ADR sessions, and I was over here just like, effing Jourdan, doing it again, just bringing up this. No, but like that's one thing. Jourdan and I have like countless nights of like Star Wars talks. Let's just put it that way. Like, well, and the best part about it is it'll never be about Star Wars, and we'll get to Star Wars. It'll be like, yo, bro, so what does life mean? So anyways, about Anakin, the council was wrong.
Life is Star Wars.
Anyways,
That's awesome.
I will say I haven't done like fan films or anything, but I got to interview Campbell Cooley, who was in the chat a while. I don't know if he's still watching or not, but he was in the chat. Campbell is one of like the nicest guys like I've ever met. So sweet, so kind, and I got to do an interview with him, and it was an absolute blast. He was so sweet. And I'll tell a story because I was messaging him back and forth. And I was like, hey, let's like, you know, FaceTime or whatever right now. Cause he was talking about doing that. And, I was like looking up what time is it in New Zealand, you know, like, okay, so he's like at this time. Great. So I talked to him. We're talking for like 2.5 hours. We just kept talking. And, I'm like, well, it's getting pretty late. It's like 2:30 a.m. I go, what time is it there? He's like 2:30. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I'm in Texas. And I'm like, oh my, I felt so horrible. It was like, because we weren't even like recording anything. I was just talking to him, and so sweet. And he's like, no, it's fine. And I'm like, I can't believe you said yes to a call at like midnight. I don't know why you did that, but Campbell's the best, and he's also like he knows Power Ranger lore. So if you have like a crazy fan theory, you can go up to him at a convention, and he can he's right there with you. He can talk to you about it. So he's fun. He's awesome.
Dan, I think might know yours, Dan. I don't know.
Well, I got to start off and just say Campbell Cooley is awesome. He's actually like a Ranger friend of mine. We talk a few times a month. Just awesome guy. But one that I have to really like shout out is Steve Cardenas. Like he really helped me get into the brand, or get back into the brand, I should say. So I kind of talked about it back in the day. We brought him here 9 years ago. It was like the 20th anniversary of the Mighty Morphin film. We had like a showing, we did like a Q&A, put that on. And then, years later, we just kind of kept talking. And whenever he was close by, I would see him. I would go like, interview him, just kind of catch up, have some lunch with him. And I ended up building like an actual relationship with this guy. And now, like, even he was just in Madison 2 weeks ago. I went up, saw him. He was in Des Moines like 3 months ago, and we got to stay the whole weekend. So there was like 2 days in a row we were bar hopping with Rocky the Red Ranger and Bulk and Skull. And those guys are freaking hilarious. Like, they're like that in real life. Like, they were telling me that like there's celebrities at Comic-Cons that once they see Bulk and Skull are on the list, they're like, nah, I'm good. Like, they don't rock because they're just rowdy. They're just fun though. But we enjoy that stuff. We think it's fun. But yeah, like, just being able to build these connections and actual friendships with these guys is just, it's everything you could ask for as being a Power Ranger fan, man. And that's really what it's about for me. Being that I've done this for so long, I do treat it like a business up to a point, because obviously, like, you want to continue to make content, but at the same time, I don't really fall in love with like the money. I fall in love with the experiences. And that's some of the coolest stuff, is like just being able to meet these Rangers. And Steve is probably my favorite, but I got to say Campbell's pretty cool too.
Yeah, he's the dude, man.
Yeah, he's awesome. I was like, I think we all talked to him a little bit. Like,
So shameless plug. Campbell's actually in a project that Colin recently produced.
I was going to show this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah.
It's called Dragon
He's the
Ball
man.
Son of Trunks. It's
Where
currently
is
on
it?
Anime Fire, and Campbell
Nice.
Cooley.
Yes.
Colin, you want to introduce?
Oh, yeah. So Campbell Cooley played Dr. Giro.
Oh.
Nice.
I recognize this guy. Where is it?
Uh,
You recognize him? That's DJ Rivers.
The only man I will ever get to paint me green.
Yeah, I'm really bad at this. Brendan McGee,
nice.
Dude.
Dino Charge. But yeah, Campbell Cooley and I. Oh my God, I'm so bad at the opposite.
It's hard.
Nothing but good vibes from Campbell Cooley.
Yeah,
We love
Campbell's
him.
the man.
He's
That's a
awesome.
good dude.
Can I?
Well, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, can I shout out one thing for you guys?
Yeah.
Because Colin, I can't remember what series it is you're in. That, I mean, I know you're in a lot. I mean, I don't remember which one exactly. Your scene with Christina Ho with Betty.
That was me.
I don't think that was in that.
Was
I think
that
was
you?
DJ.
I thought that was you.
me.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Shoot, I'm so sorry. DJ, oh gosh.
I get
I'm
it.
so sorry.
We get
Can
confused
Can
all
I
the
tell
time.
you?
I mean, we it's always like DJ Colin. Actually, you know. It's actually DJ.
Is Colin in it though? Is he like in the background? And I just
No.
okay. Sorry. Okay, so I apologize. That scene, I laughed so hard out loud
appreciate
during
you.
that scene. I'm so sorry I forgot who was in it.
I mean,
I feel like
Colin was in the episode in the scene immediately before that.
Okay,
But that
Yeah.
scene was Andros the Red Raiders. On
Yes.
there.
Okay. Yeah. So funny. I don't know
I
if she was
appreciate
fun
you.
to work with or an absolute nightmare. But
Oh
she
no,
was
she
hilarious.
was great. I didn't think she would go for it because I'm like, I mean, I promise you, and I think Colin can back me up on this because we're both this way. We don't really try to overhype our own characters, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm pitching like, hey, we're going to imply that we were kind of an item. And this
Yeah.
is like Betty from Beast Morphers. I'm like, she's
Yeah.
not going to go for it. But honestly, I thought it would be a cool world building gag in terms of like, okay, Devon's here, and then Christina was down to be booked as well. I'm like, okay, let's make her rank up in terms of security, but let's give them a reason to. So to me, it's all about world building.
Yeah.
And to what was mentioned earlier, as far as connections and building and universe lore creating, that's the reason why people loved Boom Studios when it first hit Power Rangers, was because of these stories that we've never heard of. You know what I mean? So being able to
Yeah.
get these character relationships, that's like I love that stuff.
So funny. It was so
Appreciate
good.
you.
Well, to answer my question real quick, and then we're gonna end with a really fun fight. Yeah, I said fight.
Fight.
I think so. The first time I ever got recognized was by Tessa Rao. That was
Oh,
like
cool.
really cool. Tessa was like,
Cool.
I was like, can we do an interview? She's like, yeah, you're the Legacy of Nerd. We'll do an interview. And I was like, what? Like, okay. Like, I was like, that's cool. But it's probably because it's fresh in my head, but like one of the best interviews and one of the best interactions I've had was yesterday with Kerrigan Man. And like, that dude is like, so there's no filter, and it's whatever comes into his head, you're talking about right there and there. I thought that we were talking for 10 minutes. And I realized like I was kind of like I think I've been standing in the same place for a long time, and then when I went to go back with the recording, it was like 19 minutes long, and I didn't feel like it was 19 minutes long. So I was like, holy crap! But that was a really great experience interviewing him. And yeah, but I've worked with some other Rangers, but it's been like different experiences. But like just talking to someone was really awesome. So the fight, okay, and there's no calling because you guys are gonna interrupt each other. You're allowed to interrupt each other. What is the best season of Power Rangers?
Ooh,
So tough.
that's hard.
For you, what
Can
is
we do
your
like a
best
top
season?
3 or something?
Yeah, top 3.
You want to do top 3? All right,
Let's do top 3.
we're gonna start with Disney Boy.
Cool. Horrible
Disney.
nickname, but I respect it. Sure. Okay, top 3. All right, they're all Disney. So I'm gonna go Dino Thunder, Ninja Storm, RPM.
Okay.
Don't fight me because I will kick you in the nuts.
So even though like you're like Ninja Storm, you put Dino Thunder on top.
Dino Thunder's my favorite, and the first script I ever wrote for Power Rangers was a Dino Thunder script, but I knew I couldn't pull it off. Then I thought that Ninja Storm, a prequel to Ninja Storm, I was like, I can pull that off. Ninjas, elements. Then RPM was just like, that show's great outside of Power Rangers. But yes, those are my top 3. And also, I don't want to fight. It's okay. 30 freaking years of it. So please tell me your favorite 3.
Whoever wants to go.
Oh, that's tough. I'm really into seasons. I don't know. There's certain seasons that I don't know. Okay. Jungle Fury is one that I feel like does not get enough respect.
Is that your number 1 though?
I don't know if it's my number. I think RPM is probably number 1.
Hell yeah.
RPM's amazing. It's like one of those. It's almost like liking the greatest, like the football team who wins the Super Bowl every year. It's like, yeah, they are the best. I'm sorry. It's like they're so great. I love them. It's so hard because probably like Time Force,
2?
I would say is probably 2. The love story in Time Force is like unmatched by any season. It's just so well. I just love that season. And then I just love Jungle Fury. I think they wrote that season so efficiently. If that makes sense. It's like I just nerd out about it because it's like the command center is the same place as the juice bar. It's like the same thing. It's like they just walk upstairs and they're still there. It's amazing, And then it's only 3 Rangers, but the mentor becomes a Ranger, so we already know him. We don't have to waste time learning about someone new. I just get super into it. I love it. So those are probably my top
the power slides, right? Like where they went through that hole in the wall and they're suddenly wherever they needed to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Casey, if I could add in, that's my favorite theme song. Is Jungle Fury.
Yes. It's the best theme song.
It's dope. I love it.
I can't recall it. How does it go, Casey?
It's like, you're gonna make me do that.
Power Rangers, Jungle Fury,
Jungle Fury.
Praying hard to be the best that we can.
Power Rangers.
Not like a Simple Plan song.
Dude,
Exactly.
it's so California dreaming.
It is. Yeah.
Oh my god,
It's so California dreaming. Zack Attack, Saved by the Bell, dude. It's like,
Yeah. I love this. The Disney era theme songs were amazing because they were like, they just kind of were like, all right, like we're just gonna do our own thing. It's like Mystic Force, we're gonna put a rap in there. It's like, okay.
Dude.
This is amazing.
Except for the Operation Overdrive song, hated that one. He said the Rangers after 4 stones or something. I love
I couldn't tell you a single line from that theme song at all. Not a single line from that theme song.
That was probably the worst
Disney era. Disney Boy out. No.
Although I will say, Jungle, Dino Thunder theme song, pretty clutch. There's a light in the distance. See it coming closer.
Morgan even likes it. Mighty Morphin Master.
All right, I'll go then. Speaking of Jordan, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. Heart, mind, and soul. My heart said,
Planet, dude.
Yeah, well, our powers combined. This is personal because if it was, I was trying to like to say like what's the best in terms of quality or storytelling. Time Force would definitely be on this list. But for me personally, I gotta go Mighty Morphin number 1. I will argue even that it is the best season because without Mighty Morphin, none of their other seasons would exist. None of them, none of them would exist.
You can say that for every series.
Yeah, I
ever.
was like, that doesn't make it the best. It just makes it really necessary.
Foundation
It's not the best.
all things are built. Okay,
You want the
Top
chicken and the egg there. It was like
if it was a weak foundation, you couldn't have 30 years. So I'm gonna say, and again, this is my personal. So it's like it's definitely.
Yeah, we won't fight with you until we're offline. For sure.
Just fight a little bit.
Until I find you in the East Coast.
Oh, I already got my angry text like queued up. I'm sending that.
No, we're flying out, DJ. My treat. We're gonna hit it.
Two is In Space, and that's the mind because that's what I was saying before about it's what saved the franchise for me. It's what made me feel like no, there can be pathos in this. There can be story in this. There can be, and again, it's not I wouldn't even say it's the best in terms of story, but for me it is. For me, it hit at the exact right time. I needed Power Rangers to be revived for me. And 3, I'm gonna say the soul was Dino Thunder. Because that's what made me. I had left Power Rangers for a bit, and it's not that I was completely out, but I wasn't paying because of life, college. I wasn't paying attention as much as I was before. But Dino Thunder, because Tommy came back, that was the moment I was like, oh, Tommy's back. Oh, okay, let me check this out. Maybe Power Rangers is it's back. We're back, boys. But yeah, it was my top 3.
Dan, how about Dan?
All right, here we go. So first, I want to give an honorable mention.
Ninja Steel.
Didn't make the top 3, but I got to give an honorable mention to Dino Fury because I love the Morphin Master concept, and I loved seeing a Pink Ranger themed season. Like this was not a Red Ranger themed season. Like it started with the Pink Ranger, it ended with the Pink Ranger. So I could appreciate that. I liked the storylines and the writing with that one. But now let's get into the big 3. All right, number 3. Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. Okay. It is so underrated because it's one of those where it's so good that people put it in the Jourdan era, even though it's kind of like the after, but it's like tied in with Jourdan because it's right after there's the Astro Omega ship. There's still an Alpha around, there's all the elements. And you could argue that ending is one of the craziest endings. Trakina strapping on bombs to the fighters, blowing up Megazords. Like what? Craziness. So then we'll get into number 2, Power Rangers Time Force. I know everyone's already talked about that. I don't want to say too much, except it was just awesome. I felt like the acting in this one was just superior. Like the writing and acting together was just amazing. And then number 1, we got to talk about In Space. It was awesome. It was the one where, like you guys already talked about, they were going to cancel it, but they couldn't cancel it after they saw the numbers. After they saw the toy sales and the ratings, they're like, no, let's keep it going. And that's what kind of gave us Lost Galaxy. That's why I put it in the top 3 because it's like Lost Galaxy is In Space's baby. And so if you like In Space, you're really going to like that next week. It sets it up. You know what I mean? So I just think it's amazing. And In Space showed what Power Rangers could be. It could be a little bit more darker. It could be a little bit more edgier. And you could finally connect, like through Power Rangers, they were starting to connect things, like in Zeo, we saw the first Power Rangers team up, like the Aquatar Rangers showing up, stuff like that. But like by the time we get to In Space, within the first 10 episodes, you get the Blue Ranger coming back from Turbo. You get the Ninja Turtles popping up. Like it was crazy. I give it to In Space as my number 1.
Those are a good 3. I think for me, number 1 will always be season 3 of Mighty Morphin. I think
let's go.
I think that is peak. I love Ninjetti. I love the Falcon Zord. It's still my favorite Zord to this day. I think that's Tommy at his peak White Ranger. Like I just feel like that is the perfect spot right there for Power Rangers. My number 2 is SPD. I think SPD is a full
great.
Good season. It hits all different points. It's a little bit more mature than it meant to be. I just talked to oh my god, was it Jack? I can't think of his name right now. Oh my god, I just talked to him like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Hey, was your Blue Ranger kind of racist?" And he was like, "Yeah, it kind of was, but like, it was like it was the way you saw it. Like Sky was kind of a racist Blue Ranger, and so we brought that up. It was kind of cool. And then I totally did. It's in the panel. You can like literally watch it on YouTube right
I need to go watch this
now. I put it up on my channel. It's in there. And then number 3 is probably Lost Galaxy, because Lost Galaxy is just like where it was like we're not going to treat the audience like kids anymore. We're going to kill the Red Ranger in the first episode, even though he never really became the Red Ranger. We're going to kill him. Like we're going to bring him back, but
That's my friend.
Yeah. And then obviously, they actually killed a Ranger on screen with Kendricks. They brought in this, the Psycho Rangers back also. We kind of got the crossover starting off with the In Space coming back. I know Alien Rangers already came back with Zeo, but it started really like being a anniversary thing, everything with In Space coming on Lost Galaxy. And I think the overall, the brother themes, the not feeling accepted themes, there's a lot of things in there that Lost Galaxy hit. But I will say Dino Fury Season 2 is honorable mention, because the only time that we see a Ranger, or I guess not Ranger, but we see the Red Ranger sacrifice himself to save the whole team and save the world. And I think that puts Zato in the discussion for the top 3 Red Ranger of all time.
Right.
And I said it because he's the only Red Ranger to go out there and say, like, I know I'm going to die, but I'm going to do this. So
he's a damn Morphin Master now. Like he is probably the strongest Ranger if you really think about it. So that's dope.
He's like one of the most.
He's officially a Zenith Ranger at this point. It's been confirmed. So,
well, he when he came back as Khaki Ranger, I mean that was a thing.
Champagne Ranger.
Yeah,
he's Khaki Ranger. Well, that's what he is.
Poppy Ranger.
So, yeah. I guess it's my top 3 now. I guess.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah, I'm interested in this one.
All right. I hope I don't disappoint.
He's
I want to comment
Andros.
100%. My dumbass big brother. No, I want to comment on a couple though. For Lost Galaxy, you're absolutely right, man. Like Leo fighting Triquina on like the Terra Venture. That was like Goku. That was like Goku versus Frieza vibes, bro. Like let's not get it twisted. Leo is a GOAT. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Mighty Morphin. Okay, here's the thing. If Mighty Morphin Season 3 would be great, if not, how you doing, Jay?
It's funny he's fighting on my Season 3. Like you guys were all cool with one another, but when it came to my thing, you're like, nah, screw this guy.
Oh no, man. No, but here's my biggest gripe about Mighty Morphin Season 3. Every single one of their fights took place in a park. Literally in a park. I'm seeing frisbees being thrown and kites and there's like a whole Tengu fight happening. Give me a quarry from Sentai any day, and I understand it's Sentai, but everything was at a park. Everything.
Just say that money, DJ.
Hey, that's what it is. So, no.
My backyard in that 5.
Well, fair. No, honestly, it's a toss-up for me because to me it's about, there's some good ones, but to me it's about relevant impact overall for me. So I'd say number 3 would be Zeo, because Zeo set the It's crazy that we got Turbo afterwards because of how good Zeo was, but that was some big world building as far as Machine Empire and traveling to different. That was almost the start of In Space Travels type stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, we got Alien Rangers, but this was really like King for a Day, where Tommy's brainwashed, is one of the best episodes of Power Rangers. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's tainted a little bit now because I used to love the Gold Ranger so much, and I know there's a separation between characters, and it's a little bit tainted, but Zeo's definitely number 3. Man. Can I put RPM in his own category? Or does that
no? You're 3, 2, 1, baby.
Thanks, Seabass. Thought we were friends, bro. Anyways,
we all have to follow the rules.
That's cool. Anyways, I'm gonna say SPD for number 2, only because that to me was organizational build. We're talking about B Squad, A Squad, betrayal, creatures, species, backstory of fallen fathers, prodigal child, untapped potential. I don't even want my responsibilities, and you're the Red Ranger now. You're the captain. All that stuff, man. Doggy Kruger, goated, sir, goated. And then number 1, breaking the rules, don't care. RPM and In Space, because they were the 2. Don't give a crap franchise. I'm gonna say In Space. Honestly, it is a tie for me. It genuinely is a tie for me. It is In Space and RPM. if you need to bump down Zeo to whatever, but it is in space and RPM because our in space was culmination. I don't know. I've always liked my Power Rangers to have like power lores and like power coins lore built, Ninjetti, Zeo crystals. That was the culmination of that relevant power. May the power protect you through Jourdan. You know what I mean? That was the and it was the series that saved the franchise. RPM you already know because everybody talked about it. RPM is basically Mad Max, Terminator, Power Rangers from a different dimension that just said, "Hey, we're gonna do some storytelling." So there you go.
All right, we're gonna do a bonus question because you made me think of another question.
Also, shout out to Patrick Sky. Love you, dude. Big
Yeah, what's
dude.
up,
Love
man?
Patrick.
Dude is the epitome of honoring JDF. So shout out to Patrick Sky.
He's awesome, man. He's gonna be. We have a tribute show we've been doing every November, so he's gonna be on the next. I guess the announcement. He's gonna be our first guest on the tribute show. I'm still trying to lock down like 2 or 3 more guests for that. But
Awesome.
Last year we did Francis and Dan. And the first year was a community stream, but I think I'm trying to get people that were close to JDF every year and get some different experiences and takes and stuff like that. But bonus question, and then we'll end for the night. But what do you guys think is the most powerful of the Ranger powers? And I'm just gonna go off and say mine, and because there's no argument, I think it's Zeo.
Oh, okay. I was like Ranger or like the power set.
The power set.
Ah, okay.
I say it's Zeo.
Zeo. That's a good answer. That's usually what people say because of like the built-in like it over time it becomes more and more powerful. It's like the powers. It's like
it has to.
Yeah.
See, the only thing is I get that and I hate it because it's like, what does that mean?
Exactly.
They get more powerful. But like if they punch someone in the head, does their head explode? Like what happened? It's just like
it does mean that
they don't have like it's not like they shoot fire out of their hands and they just get better at it over time. It's like they're just more powerful over
For the
time.
record, Catherine demorphed Zeo powers in Turbo by water.
Water, exactly. I was gonna say that.
Yeah. And that's canon because she did it. Like she's in mid morph and she just falls in and it stops. It's like that's
zapped. My bad.
You know, Austin in the chat is saying Dino Thunder, and I could see Dino Thunder. I could see Dino Thunder.
I got
the strongest. Huh. Okay.
I got an answer that ties into Psycho Menace, and it's kind of a cheat answer, but I'm gonna use it. The Mega Force powers, just because they access all powers. Like it's just
okay.
Pretty powerful. Yeah.
The only one I can think of that could put up a good fight that you could argue are the Mystic Force powers because it's magic. And if you guys know you read superhero comics, magic's always the tougher one. Even like your Superman heroes always struggle with magic. But you guys are right because they say the Zeo powers always just get stronger and they never like got rid of the Zeo power. Like we don't know what the hell happened to them. So if they're still around, they have to essentially be the strongest, but how can they hold up against magic? The only other thing I can think of is maybe those Dino Fury keys that have magic powers, but that's still on the level of magic, and I'd probably take Mystic Force. But
I got another strike against the Zeo powers too, and it's all just canonical inconsistencies. I'm gonna get real nerdy, okay? Danger, Tommy, when he uses the Master Morpher, okay, he transforms into Zeo and cannot defeat his robot clone. He has to transform 2 more times.
and arguably the weaker versions of him. Arguably.
Yeah.
Like literally he went from the peak he ever was to like, nah, the strongest I ever was. White Tiger, arguably pretty up there, but Green Ranger was as much as cool as you were, was not your strongest form, bro.
I feel evil Green Ranger was stronger than good Green Ranger.
Yeah,
evil Green Ranger had Hadouken.
Always stronger. All right, I got one, and I'd love to be wrong, okay? But from what I remember and all my research, Shane got his battleizer from energy from an alien species, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
So what if that technology, the Wind Morpher, went to that planet and took all that energy from all those alien species that are just energy?
Oh my God.
Why not become a super badass battleizer? Because you become a battleizer off one beautiful alien chick, right? Why not go to that planet, absorb it all, just mess up everyone?
then you're not a ranger no more.
You just met that. You just made Shane Thanos, is what you just
Yeah,
did.
you
You're-
you're not telling me to pose a ranger.
No one
to the
asked me
side.
if it was good or evil. I'm saying-
I think your battleizer
one
just becomes
alien
a
chick made a
Zord.
battleizer. What if we go to their planet, take them all up?
But that's kind of.
The
Are we
battleizer.
talking about genocide or something?
No one said I couldn't do it.
Not
I
wrong.
love how proud he is. He's like,
Episode
What
What if we?
Shattered
Hey,
Past.
what if we killed everyone?
Genocide?
We're gonna,
10 toes.
we're gonna see episode 6, Shattered Past. Sam's gonna go take out all of that right there, get the battleizer.
Please
And it was
don't.
all
There you go.
Daniel's
There you go,
idea.
Jackson.
He
Please
told
don't.
me to do it.
Who's next? Who's next?
Sam, don't do it.
Oh,
Oh,
no, Broly, maximum Broly. No, I'll go real quick. Canonically, the Mega Force powers should be the most powerful ones. Canonically, if we're not
Yeah.
talking about Morphin Masters, canonically,
What about taking over a planet, DJ?
I hear what you're saying, brother, and I love you to death. I'm gonna call you afterwards. So, anyways,
He's gonna be like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?"
no, we're gonna go over that like F5 bloodline scripts and be like, dude, but what if we're not doing that, brother? But no, canonically, the Mega Force powers should be the most powerful ones. Zeo should be, except for the water non-contingency, I guess. But also, it was actually written at one point. Obviously, this is years ago. But supposedly, Zane, the Silver Ranger, canonically is one of the most powerful Rangers in the cosmos. At one point, it was canon that he is. I mean, the show may not have demonstrated this, but he is supposed to be like the strongest Ranger, like one of the strongest like powers in Ranger powers. So, but canonically, it would be the Mega Force powers because it should be.
I kind of wish they did that though. That would have added a layer to in space too.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really sell it that way, but
Because
in lore, the Silver Powers was supposed to be like that level of like untouchable.
in Super Sentai it was unstable, right? The
Something
silver
like that.
power. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I kind of piggyback off Dan is that I think an honorable mention. I don't know if they're the strongest, but Dino Fury, their keys. When you really think about it, if you use those tactically, I can't say that word, but if you really like plan things out, it's like someone can be straight up invisible while another person like they almost took out a monster just using their Dino keys, like without even like a grown monster. They almost took them out just using Dino keys. Like it's pretty like those are pretty powerful if they're used correctly. Like
I mean, they were opening up wormholes and pushing the monsters into space and saying bye.
yeah, like they have. It's like if you have smart enough people and like the right people using them, you could do a lot of stuff with those keys. Like they can almost do anything. So I don't know if the most powerful, but just like honorable mention, they're pretty powerful.
Well, theoretically, every season is supposed to be more powerful than the last. So if we're going by that, then Cosmic
That's
Fury
not
would be-
true.
What
I'm
about
not sure
Turbo?
What about
Turbo,
it?
man.
What about it?
Like okay, so Jourdan said he never said that the turbo powers were stronger. He said you guys are going to a new area, so you need some new vehicles, basically. So like, and we never got told what happened to the Zeo powers. So I always felt like the Zeo powers were stronger, but the turbo powers were for that mission, for going to like way out there. But I don't know. I'm just making it up at this point.
Hey Dan, as a guy who knows the guy that killed Jourdan, don't trust Jourdan. It's I talked to Andros. He said, "Don't listen to Jourdan," and he sees it.
I have a whole theory on him. I have a video about Jourdan being evil, and I get I've had some pretty big hate comments on that one. If you're surprised or not,
I mean, the comics brought it up with child soldiers. I mean,
that's the whole thing. I don't want to just derail this into a talk about that, but yeah, like, well, because okay, when they turn into kids in like the Alien Rangers, when they turn to kids, they can't morph because they're children, and then they get the Zeo powers, and then it's like, oh, now we're gonna make these turbo powers that Jourdan create. Well, Billy, I don't know exactly. Like Billy created it with Jourdan, and all of a sudden we have a child who can morph. That couldn't happen before. Why did you make that an option? You know, I'm just, you know. Yeah. Little sketchy.
If Amazon taught us anything, not the point. All I'm saying is you gotta be wary of these bald dudes because Charles Xavier is like debatable too. You gotta be careful about these bald leaders, man. You know, I wouldn't know about that. But the point I'm trying to make is
everyone run.
the point I'm saying, wow, Colin. But yeah, man. Child labor is a thing, I guess.
Child labor.
Hey, you know.
And that's why Jourdan is unworthy. There you go.
Oh.
That's why Jourdan sacrificed
I'll
himself. He
agree.
felt bad.
That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. I appreciate all of you for coming and talking Power Rangers for 2.5 hours. I think we hit all the spectrum. We hit content creating. We had some mental health. We hit just like hitting the lore and talking about what we thought is fun as far as Power Rangers. I want to give you guys all the time to let everybody know where they can find you. Dan, just go in line on the screen. Where you go? Dan, you start first.
You guys can check us out at the Fan Club on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, pretty much anywhere out there. The Fan Club, we're out there. And thanks for having me, Dan. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. YouTube. That's where I'm at. And thanks for having me. I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. It was very exciting to get to talk with all of you guys. Seriously.
DJ.
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at DJ Rivers. You'll find me. You'll see my face. You can also find us at Extended Universe, Power Rangers Extended Universe on Instagram, as well as Official Bloodline Creations on Instagram. Eventually, Official Bloodline Creations will be on YouTube as well. Still very much the Extended Universe, still very much connected, still very much one big team. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Awesome. Jourdan?
You can find all of our Unworthy stuff on Power Rangers Unworthy on Instagram and YouTube. Search Power Rangers Unworthy. If you want to follow me, it's Blurred Vision on Instagram.
Awesome.
I forgot what I said half the time. I hope you guys are still with me after. I apologize. I just had so much fun nerding out to you guys. My name's Colin K. Bass. You can find me at Colin K. Bass basically everywhere. Extended Universe, love Unworthy, love Bloodline. We are all in this big, beautiful Power Rangers umbrella. So glad to meet all of you three. And I think that the future is bright with people like us in the community. So very excited, very motivated, and very positive. And may the power protect us all.
Perfect.
Go.
As always, guys, you guys can find me if you guys are just joining me for the first time. I know I'm being on a special Discord server right now, but you guys can find me on Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, of course, which is like the Wild West, but that's a whole thing. And then, of course, YouTube, but also Threads. Like that's a thing now. I think Threads is a thing. And but yeah. As far as I know, you guys have been asking kind of what appearances I will be taking for the rest of the year. I don't know, but I know the one for sure I will be working at will be a NostalgiaCon Houston in December. That will feature quite a bit of Rangers, and they just got 2 Super Sentai Dragon Ranger, Captain Marvelous, and then they got Kamen Rider Black RX. So those are some of the big gets right there. But I thank you guys for all joining us today. Everyone in the chat. I know we had a lot. I know there was a lot of questions and stuff like that today, but we had a lot we had to go through as far as topics. So I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate everybody having good, honest, positive discussions, and that was awesome. So, all right, guys, we will sign off like every other Power Rangers content creator probably signs off. Do y'all know what time it is?
It's Morphin time!
See you later, guys.
Did we do it?
Yeah.